It's old school versus new school. The McKinney Lions, steeped in winning tradition for decades, have given way of their small-town dominance to an uptown crowd of newcomers that park on the west side of town and send their kids to one of the wealthiest schools in North Texas, and that's McKinney Boyd. Boyd, in its third year of existence, went 0-10 in 06 to the quarterfinal showdown last year. McKinney blasted its little brother in 06, but took it on the chin last year and show up tonight a little red-faced. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms, Kevin McPherson, Jarrett Foyt, and John Leidy on the sidelines tonight. Tonight is one of those games where we might be here until midnight, Brandon. We project that you check your defense at the door because this one's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, and I'm not going to steal your thunder. You did a lot of research over this past week about just exactly how many points they've given up, particularly in a losing effort. They scored and so on, so I'll let you do that. But, Monty, you're absolutely right. You look at the McKinney Lions defense, it's been almost non-existent in phases. They've been dominated at sacks. You give up 70 points plus to a team. Obviously, something's not working right, and that was in your own classification. And on the other end of the thing, you look at what Boyd's been able to do. They score points, but last week they kind of struggled a little bit, although obviously it's against one of the best teams in the state. So we're still trying to figure out where we are, where both teams are really for that matter, because you've got Boyd, who's a 5A school now. You've got McKinney, who a lot of people think are going to be players come district time, but they haven't really shown anything, but they've played some tough teams.
McKinney's game, as you mentioned last week with Denton Ryan, a massive dent in the McKinney High School record books. It marked the first time since 1959 that a McKinney had played a Denton team. It was the first time that McKinney played at C.H. Collins Athletic Complex, and the 71 points scored against McKinney was the fifth most in school history and the most by a team not named Highland Park.
Yeah, you go down that list, Monty, aside from the 2008, the closest year you'll find to that happening was 1945.
1945, the last time that anyone has scored more than 71 points on McKinney, and that was Highland Park, 87-7, which is the record, most points given up. Now, we'll go back to 1945. That's when FDR was president. 669 games ago is how long that it's been since a team has put a thumping like that on McKinney. Most points given up to a team, like I said, not named Highland Park. The 40 that they did score against Denton Ryan last week is the most that any McKinney team has ever scored against an opponent and still lost.
Exactly, and it tells you how prolific their offense can be. They can score points. Pardon me. One of the big things that they're really going to have to prove on is the play of their linebackers. They need to get pressure on the outside.
Let's check down with Jonathan Leidy, who's down on the sidelines. Jonathan, go ahead and take it over.
Guys, I'm looking for a very high-scoring game tonight, and you actually have the old-school McKinney Lions who are decked out in their home blues looking like the Michigan Wolverines versus the new-school Boyd Broncos who are in their road jerseys, solid white, that look like Ole Miss. You're looking at one of the biggest games in the state of Texas tonight, and the fact that it's a rivalry. It's good to get back to a rivalry rather than having your, not necessarily non-rivals, but in your non-conference schedules you run into a few games that could be not as exciting as what tonight's game is going to be. I'm looking for Darren Alves to do his shaking and baking down here on the field on the McKinney defense, who has had a hard time stopping the run this year so far. And then you got to look at the McKinney offense, who has the high-flying Zach Lee back there at quarterback. It's going to be throwing those deep balls all night long. And that's, as we saw last week, where Boyd struggled was in the pass offense, or the pass defense, early on in the game. So I'm going to look to see which defense can step up and stop the opposing team in this tonight's game. Unlike last week where we had Hurricane Ike heading in and we had all this wind, tonight there is no wind at all. It is a very nice night. It's been the low 80s starting off, probably going to be in the high 60s by the end of the game. Let's send it back on up to the booth.
All right, thanks a lot, John Leidy. Talking about last week's game just a little bit more, McKinney and Denton Ryan, the combined points for the game was 111, and that was the most points ever scored in any game in McKinney High School history. The previous high was 98, and that was against Highland Park, as you would imagine, 56-42, a win versus Highland Park back in 1995. If you want to talk about Boyd and the most points ever scored in one game for Boyd, and that's 84, and that was the game last year at the playoffs versus Richardson Pierce. Jonathan talked a little bit about the rivalry and what this game is. Now, I guess you can call it a rivalry because it's inter-school, inter-city, but it hasn't been going on for very long. This is only the third matchup, and McKinney won the first year. McKinney Boyd won last year, so not much of a old traditional rivalry, but I guess a new one.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm going to disagree with our normally solid, usually very accurate sideline reporter. You got to have some long-term playing time. You got to be established. You got to have games where the team that was supposed to win somehow lost, and vice versa. We're just not there yet. The only thing you really have is the ability to say, hey, you're my brother, I'm going against you.
If I were a McKinney High fan and had been a long-time fan of the Gold, what I would be most upset with McKinney Boyd, and for that matter, McKinney North over there, is the fact that they've taken players away out of this system. If you look back, how much talent has McKinney North and McKinney Boyd taken away from the McKinney Lions? Well, the Lions are 23-40 since North started playing football, and that's one winning season. And they're 7-15 since Boyd came on board. A lot of talent, such as Jeff Fuller, who started out in McKinney, ended up at Boyd, and now at A&M.
Yeah, and you look at that one winning season, that was the first year that North was there. They ended up going well. And you look at it, the last 3 years, North and Boyd have gone to the playoffs. So, I mean, that tells you exactly what you need. I don't know if we want to do a Duncanville-style school district where, you have all this super talent. I don't think that's the way to go, but you're exactly right. Look at Zach Lee. He's really one of the best quarterbacks they've had in a long time, and you couple that with Eric Erbel and Darren Alves going somewhere else. I mean, that just tells you something right there.
Well, it's a rivalry tonight in Texas here at Ron Poe Stadium in McKinney. We're going to have the Coaches Show and the Senior Spotlight coming up next on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms and the rest of the gang. The officials for tonight's game, referee Tim Tolson, the umpire Eric Griffin, the head linesman Pat Clayton, the line judge Jeff Graves, and the back judge Justin Jordan. They're out of the Dallas chapter. We'll go over the starting lineup. The offense for the McKinney Lions, who are taking on little brother McKinney Boyd tonight. The Lions up front, Jesus Coronado, the left tackle, 5'10", 230-pound senior. Tyler Peterson, the left guard. Nate Leonard, the center, has a 5.49 GPA, third in his class. The right guard, Brian Warren. And Jacob Smith, the right tackle, who wants to be an Aggie. He's 6'1", 215. That's about the size of those Aggies down there. The tight end or slot back, Quentin Benson. He's a senior. 5 catches for 42 yards. Split out wide tonight for the McKinney Lions will be Will Rogers, related to Colin McKinney. We've mentioned that before. He's 6'4", 200 pounds. And a senior, 6 catches, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And on the other side will be Dario Jackson, 6 catches, 109 yards, and 3 touchdowns. In the backfield for the McKinney Lions tonight, Brett Helt, who runs a lot like Marion Barber, 6 foot, 195-pound senior, has 279 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. In the slot, Jared Farley, 8 catches, 77 yards. He needs a nickname. That guy can catch the football. And he's 5'10", 170 pounds. And the quarterback tonight for your McKinney Lions, running a 4.7, benching 200 pounds, the former Mr. USA wrestling champion at 7 years old, Zach Lee, 6'4", 195-pound junior. He's 24 out of 48, 2 interceptions, 280 yards passing, and 4 touchdowns. Also has 45 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns rushing.
Yeah, and Monty, prior to the break, we talked about how good this offense is. You go down this list, keep in mind they're missing their best receiver. You look at it, you have Brandon White, a senior, Will Rogers, a senior, Matt Lipka, who is a junior sitting out because of baseball. He's the best receiver on this team. You've got a senior in Jared Farley. You've got Dario Jackson, a senior. How deep is this receiving squad? I mean, if you're Zach Lee, it's almost like you're supposed to be good because you're throwing to these guys,
On the other side of the ball for the McKinney Lions, up front, Jordan Kilwine, the 6 foot, 200-pound senior. Devon Goldborn, 5'8", 200-pound senior. He runs a 4.9, and he benches 265. Jamario Mack, the senior defensive tackle, and DeJuan Swinney, the left end. On the corners tonight, Jamel Fee and Prescott Mack. The safeties, Travis Tarver II, who get this, he runs a 4.4 and benches 250. He's a sophomore. That's amazing. And John Marabot, the safety. In the back, the linebackers, Josh Jackson, Ryan Hughes, and Ryan Levins.
Yeah, and you mentioned those three guys. If this defense is going to see any marked improvement whatsoever, it's got to come from them. I mean, there's only so much your defensive line can do before your linebackers have to fill that gap.
The defense last week gave up 337 yards passing to Denton Ryan and 332 yards rushing to Denton Ryan. That's 669 yards of offense given up by the McKinney Lions. That won't get it done, buddy.
2 games.
Yep.
That's not 3.
Well,
that
is one game.
669
yards.
That's even worse.
Is one game. They've given up 1,211 in 2 games.
That's about where you want to sit for an average of 3 games.
Well, we can look at that and see what McKinney Boyd has done in 3 games. They've given up 1,199 yards. Exactly right. They've given up the same amount of yards in 3 games that McKinney has given up in 2.
And that's where ultimately your problem, because we talked about Boyd needs to improve on defense. So you're going up against the Allen Planos and things like that. That defense has got to get better.
Well, we gave you the bad news on McKinney Lions. That's the defensive stats. Let's give you the good news. The offensive stats last week, they were a little down, 230 yards rushing, 136 through the air for 366 total. But they do have 765 yards so far this season as an offensive group, averaging 215 on the ground and 168 in the air for a total average of 383.
And Monty, let me kind of pose a hypothetical question. What would have happened if this offense from this year, maybe even last year, were with the defense from 2 years ago?
Or 3 years ago.
Yeah, you remember their problem wasn't stopping.
The 2004
exactly
McKinney Lions.
Well, even the 2005 weren't that bad. You know, I mean, they needed an offense that could score points. And so right now it's like, where can you go?
Jared Foyt up here in the booth, a spotter tonight, shaking his head yes, because he was on that 2004 team, and his brother was the middle linebacker on that team.
And those were some good defensive squads, and you just wish you could get even a fraction of that.
That's back when we had Lorenzo Jones taking people to the woodshed every week. What a defensive group that was. The big nasty, I think, is what they called themselves back in those days. Now the big nasty is gone. And
way gone.
That's 5 years removed, and it seems like an eternity. But the big nasty now is on offense because those guys can throw the football. And one guy who can do some things with the football as well is a young man from McKinney Boyd, and they call him the Pinball Wizard, Darren Alves. So far on the season, 69 carries, 532 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns. That's 7.7 yards per carry. Now, last week he didn't get to run like he normally did. Copper's Cove was a tremendous football team, so they had to throw the football. Well, so he can't throw very well, right? Isn't that what everybody says? Okay, last week, 18 out of 29. He did have 2 interceptions, but he had 219 yards through the air. On the season, 40 out of 58, 3 interceptions, 514 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I figured out why that kind of knock on him exists is because he's not a pretty passer. You know, he doesn't have the greatest form. It looks like he's laboring a lot when he throws that, but he does get it there. He just doesn't look Eric Herbal-esque and just, easily throwing it 50 yards down the field.
Well, I think the thing is he's not the largest of young men, standing at 5'7", weighing in at 160 pounds. He labors a little bit to get the ball down the field, as well as the big guys like Zach Lee, standing 6'4", 195. It looks a little effortless compared to Darren Alves.
Yeah, and you talk about the small size, but one of the reasons he's a great runner is because he has that small size. And Monty, by the way, I'm not sure if the average person is aware of this. In the area Class 5A, he's your 3rd best rusher. And that's not bad as a quarterback.
McKinney Lions coming out on the field. The captains will stand on the near side. The McKinney Lions are the home team tonight, as Jonathan Leidy mentioned, in their navy blue with the gold numerals, gold pants, and those famous gold helmets. And the captains tonight for McKinney will be Prescott Mack, Jared Foyt, Brett Helt, and Jamario Mack.
Who? Did you say Jared Foyt?
Did I say?
I think so, because he looked at me like I'm captain.
Oh, Jared Farley. Am I going to do that this year?
It's always
Jared Farley.
one name.
We had last year, we had Jay Lindley and Jonathan Leidy, and now we've got Jared Farley and Jared Foyt.
Yeah.
Jared was, I believe, let me see how my memory works here. Jared was number 61 back in 2004. And how I remember that, who knows?
If there's an SID position that opens up at the MISD in whatever form or fashion, that's a job you need to apply for. The fact that you know this stuff off the top of your memory shows me there's no one else qualified.
Well, here's the captains coming out. I'll get back to. I had some SID type information for you, but we'll get back to that. The captains for McKinney Boyd coming out on the far side. That's going to be. I don't know those off the top of my head. Maybe Josh Russell being one of them.
Daniel Edgar and Josh Russell.
Daniel Edgar, yeah.
2 senior inside linebackers.
2 linebackers. Here's the coin toss. Having the captains come up and talk on the crowd mic.
All right, gentlemen. Analyst, you call the toss. That'll be tails, that'll be heads. Call it in the air. If I drop it, we'll do it again.
Tails. Heads.
All right, you called heads. It is tails. So, what would you like to do?
Kick the ball.
Would you like the ball? All right. Which way would you like to kick?
On that one.
Very good. You put your back to this goal. Guys over here. Guys come over here with me. Put your back to this goal.
All right, there's your coin toss as McKinney will turn around, put their backs to the north end zone. McKinney Boyd with their backs to the south end zone. McKinney High won the toss, and they will receive tonight to start this football game. And they will be moving, like I said, towards that south end zone. McKinney Boyd moving toward the north end zone. Not a real difference. There's no wind to really speak of, and nothing to really worry about in that fashion, but we will start off the game in that fashion. And McKinney Lions in their blue and gold doing some stretching down in the end zone, and here comes McKinney Boyd. They run through their big Bronco helmet. You can hear their large home crowd on the far sideline as the sun goes down. We saw some balloons tonight from the Plano parade that they had through the airways tonight. Don't see any right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad we don't.
Yeah, we had 2 of them lingering over there on the west side, but I guess the air's been let out of the balloon a little bit over there. Waiting on the McKinney Lions to come out of their blue helmet. They still have that blue helmet that they run through, even though they went back to the gold helmet a couple years ago. You can't just snap your fingers and get $22,000 to pay for one of those things, I'm sure, as the Booster Club probably would like to have a redo on that purchase.
Well, what did they run through before they changed their helmets? You know,
Well, here comes one player out by himself and does a couple of cartwheels, and then the rest of the team follows him, and that's Travis Tarver. Travis Tarver comes through and does 2 end-over-end flips. And then the rest of the team follows him out.
That's your starting sophomore free safety
Yep.
who can bench press 250 pounds. It wasn't a 4-4.
Yeah.
Is there anything he can't do?
Yeah, that's him. That's the guy we were talking about. Oh, we're just about ready for the national anthem as both teams are out on the field now, lining up. We're going to take a quick timeout and be right back here at Ron Post Stadium for McKinney Boyd and the McKinney Lions on 97.5 KLAK. Well, with that, it is football time in Texas. We are at Ron Post Stadium, and it's McKinney Boyd and the McKinney Lions teeing off here tonight. And the Boyd Broncos will be kicking off first as the McKinney Lions won the toss and elected to receive to start this football game. And the Lions coming out on the field now, again in their dark navy uniforms with gold numerals, gold helmets, gold pants, blue socks. And the McKinney Boyd Broncos coming out white pants, white shirts, the dark navy blue helmets, and the dark blue numerals outlined in red. Temperature for the night, 81 right now at kickoff, light and variable wind. Not going to be much of an outcome or a factor in this football game tonight.
Well, actually, maybe it is, because with no wind, don't you think that gives the Lions a little bit of an advantage with their passing game?
Well, it could be. Of course, that's the whole thing. Everybody talks about how Darren Alves is not the passer,
Right.
but I think he's proving to people around North Texas that he is more of a passer than what people give him credit for. Doing the kicking for McKinney Boyd will be Philip Richardson, as they'll tee it up at the 40, and they kick it out of that Quail onside look, and that's going to be taken by Dario Jackson at the 5, coming up the right hash, cuts it out towards the far sideline, not much doing, and goes down right outside the 10, the 15. They'll mark him down at the 17-yard line, an 11-yard return. Connor Frazier on the stop for McKinney Boyd.
Boy, that wedge couldn't give any room whatsoever for Jackson to find. He actually ran into it and just pretty much stopped all momentum, and after that it was easy pickings for the Boyd cover team.
Well, right after this first down play, we'll let the studio give you the McKinney Boyd starting defense, as we've already given you the McKinney Lions starting offense. Brett Helt and company come out on the field. Zach Lee in shotgun formation, 3 receivers to the near side. 1 to the far is Dario Jackson. Shotgun look, Lee wants it. He gets it. He hands off to Brett Helt, running right guard, not much doing, crosses the 20 to the 21, maybe a 3-yard gain. Here's the starting lineup for the McKinney Boyd Broncos defense.
Keith Owens, defensive end.
Dylan Smith, nose guard.
Cody Garrett, defensive end.
Zach Adamczyk, outside linebacker.
Josh Russell, linebacker.
Daniel Edgar, linebacker. Miller Burns, outside linebacker.
Lamar Peoples, corner.
Parker Bolinas, corner. Cameron Mazur, safety. Cody Sieber, free safety.
2nd down and 6 here for the McKinney Lions, moving right to left. Again, 3 receivers to the near side. This time Lee wants to throw it in the slot. He's got Farley to the 25, to the 30, and a face mask not called up to the 35-yard line. 13 yards on the pass and catch to the slot receiver, Jared Farley, and a first down for the McKinney Lions. Josh Russell from McKinney Boyd knocks him out of bounds.
What a great call. Nice job setting that play up. You had 2 receivers to the left side who were blocking almost immediately as Farley was coming right to left on the screen pass. Set up beautifully by those receivers, blocked beautifully as well, and Farley was just able to run around it all.
Zach Adamczyk lined up, man up on Jared Farley. We'll see what happens there. And now he backs off a little bit. Lee in the gun. 3 down linemen for McKinney Boyd. Handoff. Brett Helt running near side. Got the 40. Lowers his shoulder and runs over a man. That's Cameron Mazur at the 44-yard line, and they'll mark him down right there. That was a Marion Barber-like run by Brett Helt for 8 yards.
Yeah, that's kind of the irresistible object meets the immovable force. Mazur against Helt there. Mazur at least able to knock Brett Helt off of course and out of bounds, but you know, I don't think anybody could do that to Cameron Mazur on any sort of consistent level.
2nd down and 2, just underway, no score. 11:02 left to go in the first. Zach Lee sends 3 wide receivers to the right side this time. Will Rogers all alone to the left. Handoff. Brett Helt right tackle, and he's got the first down to the 47-yard line, a 3-yard gain. And they'll move the sticks once again for the McKinney Lions.
Yeah, if you remember the past game, and really to some degree the games prior to that, the big problem with the Boyd defense was the lack of penetration on the defensive line. And it looks like the Lion offense is pretty much keying into that. We've seen a lot of Brett Helt early here.
Bo Brasher into the game at left tackle instead of Jesus Coronado. Lee in the gun, and he fakes the hand to Helt, throws it down the field. Nope, he's being wrestled down before he could do it. Now he throws it away. Zach Adamczyk almost picked it off. Lee threw it as he was going down. They'll call it incomplete. It'll bring up 2nd down. Maybe not the wisest of choices for Zach Lee to be throwing that ball as he's heading down on his back.
No, absolutely not, Monty. He was actually looking for Will Rogers, but as he was going down, you know, there's too much white around there for you to even try to think about throwing a pass of that nature. But the sad thing is he actually had a man open. Josh Weathers was across the middle, and Lee just didn't see him.
Lee in the gun. Helt stands to his left. 2 receivers either side now. And this is going to be a handoff to Brett Helt running right side. And he's got the 45, almost a first down at about the 42-yard line on the other side of the field. And that'll bring up the 3rd and very short.
Yeah, Monty, they're really starting to key on that running game. And, you know, it's like we've talked about in the past. If your secondary is making most of your tackles in the running game, something's not working. You never want to see Cameron Mazur. You never want to see Cody Sieber at the top of the list of tackles because that means something's not working because they're getting downfield.
Weathers comes to the near side with Farley and Will Rogers. 3 men to the left side. Dario Jackson split out wide right. Will Rogers on the line, the 2 slots off the line. Lee in the gun, Helt standing to his right. He's going to run to the right side, and he's got the first down, and he's still pushing his way. And finally, McKinney Boyd drags him back, but not after he crossed the 40-yard line. And they'll mark him down at the 37.
Who do you credit for a tackle there? There were 5 white shirts on every side of Lee.
8th play of the drive for the McKinney Lions to start this football game. Very impressive. 9:54 and rolling here in the first quarter, no score. 3 receivers to the near side. Lee in the gun. And he wants to throw. Throws it to Farley in the slot, and he is met and driven backwards. A great play by McKinney Boyd. We're trying to find out who that is, and guess who? Cameron Mazer. Every time a big play happens, it seems like Mazer's the guy around doing it.
Yeah, they tried to run that same screen pass that they did earlier with great success, but Mazer read that one well, and I don't know if somebody blocked him or if it's just that he was where he wasn't the play earlier. But Monty, that was only the 3rd pass of that drive. The running game's working so well.
Well, they moved Farley and Weathers over to the right side now. Helt over to the left behind Zach Lee, quarterback. This is a blitz. Lee trying to pick it up, and he's under pressure and sacked at the 48-yard line. Brought down by Bo Davis, the outside linebacker. They were sending the house, and they got to Lee.
Yeah, that's one thing Lee doesn't have is a good pocket presence, Monty. When you see that many white shirts coming, the worst case scenario you want is you throw it out of bounds. Therefore, you don't lose any yardage. You get to play another day. As it is, that's going to be a loss of 9 yards on the sack because he should have gotten it away. He was just hanging in there too long, hoping something would develop.
Just as we were talking about how well this drive looked for the McKinney Lions, they've done nothing but go back ever since.
Announcer's jinx.
3rd and 21 now for the McKinney Lions, moving right to left with 8:22 and rolling here in the first. 2 receivers either side for Zach Lee. Drops back 2 steps, looks across the middle. Firing, no, he's going to tuck it and run. Now he fires across the middle. Weathers makes the catch at the 36 and down right there. A nice job by Cody Sieber to make sure he didn't get much more after the 13-yard pickup.
Yeah, it's a good play in one sense. You got a lot of the yards back, but when you need 21, you're kind of having your back up against the wall. That time Lee did a little bit better with his pocket presence, felt some pressure coming from the outside, so he did what all quarterbacks are supposed to do and just stepped up.
4th down and 9 here, and it looks like they're probably going to go for it.
Maybe. There's a lot of people in tight.
And Lee is going to pooch it, and he's going to kick it way out of halfway in the end zone. Looked for a moment like it was going to go out of the end zone, but not what they were really looking for as far as the punt, but at least they did net a few yards out of that.
Yeah, if you're going to go at halfway into the end zone, that's 6 yards too long to what you're actually trying for. But, the same difference, you didn't get a return out of it.
After this first down play, we'll give you the McKinney Boyd starting offense, as we have already given you the McKinney Lions starting defense. 7:35 left to go in the first, no score. McKinney Boyd coming out on the field for the first time.
Monty, with that kind of drive, double-digit plays, that's got to be a big disappointment not to get anything better than a punt out of it.
Alves will line up in the gun with 3 receivers to the right side. Montarius Pittman now goes in motion, and he'll stand behind Alves and a little bit to the left. And Alves going to hand to him right up the middle. A big hole initially, but it was closed in a hurry at the 21-yard line by Ryan Hughes, the leading tackler for McKinney.
Yeah, and we talked about we need the linebackers to step up. Ryan Hughes has played really solid this year, and they're going to need him to keep doing that, and he did. He just fought off a block, and all of a sudden Pittman, who thinks he's got a big hole, it's closed pretty quickly. 2nd
down and 9 with 7:09 left to go in the first. No score at Ron Post Stadium. McKinney Boyd and the McKinney Lions. This is going to be Robinson now. He'll go in motion to stand behind Alves. And a high snap, and Robinson's the one that actually brings it down, and he is tackled by about 7 guys with gold pants on, that being the Lions, one of them being DeJuan Swinney, the left defensive end.
Boy, that high snap has killed Boyd this year.
Let's give you the McKinney Boyd starting offense.
Brent
Sam White, offensive tackle.
William Small, left guard.
AJ Gross, center.
Brenton Liggins, offensive guard.
Michael Thurby, offensive tackle.
Cameron Mazer, tight end.
Grant Gibson, wide receiver.
Joseph Robinson, running back.
Montarius Pittman, running back.
Colby Matsky, wide receiver.
Darren Alves, quarterback.
What a great catch over the middle by Grant Gibson for a first down. Alves dropped back, and he threw the ball right over the left hash. 26 yards later, Grant Gibson hauls it in.
Well, that was a pretty reception by Gibson. Alves put a lot of
let me
pepper
check
on
that. I don't think it was Gibson. That was
it Mazer?
That was Cameron Mazer. What a great pass and a great catch there. We're talking about the high snap from A.J. Gross. He lost 47 pounds. Doesn't know his strength still. Alves in the gun, and he's going to run to the right side, bounces it out, cuts it in, cuts it out. Look out. To the 48-50, to the 40, down to the 45-30, 35-20, 25-10. I can't keep up with him at the 12-yard line. I can't keep up. 48 yards for Darren Alves. Ryan Hughes brings him down.
Chase Ennis made one of the best blocks I've ever seen any wide receiver made as he just kept on Jamel Fee. I think that was Fee. It may have been Prescott Mack, who just stuck with him for 20. And it's hard to keep ahead of Darren Alves with somebody in your face for 20 yards. Right at the very end, Chase gives a big push, knocks Fee on his back, and if he wasn't caught from behind, Alves would have been gone because of it.
Three receivers to the left side, one to the right, that being Chase Ennis. Cameron Mazer standing up, the tight end to the right side. Alves wants to run. Right side, big hole, gets a block, cuts it left, cuts it back towards the middle. Is he in? It's going to be close. I think his knee hit at the 1 yard line. They'll mark him down right there. A nice run by Alves, got a great block. I think it was from Mazer, his tight end. And that sprung him to have a few more looks. No score here in the first quarter, 5:18 and rolling at Ron Post Stadium. McKinney Boyd knocking on the door, about to punch this one in.
Yeah, Monty, I didn't see who Mazer was blocking. It may have been Ryan Hughes, but he just flattened one of the linebackers.
Power eye set, Alves in the gun. Montarius Pittman dots the eye. And Alves is going to run straight up the middle, and he is in. It is touchdown time in Texas. Darren Alves has now scored in every game he has ever played on varsity. At least one rushing touchdown and another one.
And that's just a crazy stat when you consider he started as a sophomore.
A 1 yard touchdown run for Darren Alves as Richardson will come on for the extra point. Cody Siebert to hold. The snap's low. He puts it on the tee. The kick's up, and the kick is good. 7-0. McKinney Boyd leading with 5 minutes left to go in the first quarter at Ron Post Stadium. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Well, as you grow so accustomed to, the pinball wizard Darren Alves scoring again. That kid's amazing. 7th touchdown of the year on the ground for Darren Alves as we prepare for the JBS Express kickoff. And it's a low line drive kick going to be taken by Dario Jackson from his own 7 yard line, right up the right hash. Looking for a seam, has a seam. Parker Bolinas brings him down at the 37 yard line. Let's go over the Mike's Economy Transmission scoring drive recap for McKinney Boyd. It was 6 plays and 80 yards. It took 2 minutes and 35 seconds off the clock. Darren Alves accounted for 86 of the yards. And McKinney Boyd leads 7-0 with 4:52 left to go in the first.
You know, something we may want to check in with John about is just how that has to be deflating to some degree. Your offense puts together an 11, 12-play drive that culminates in a punt, and all of a sudden Boyd goes down the field in 2 minutes.
2 receivers either side for the McKinney Lions now, moving right to left. Zach Lee, he's going to hand off. Brett Helt running right side, gets outside, 40, 45 to the 50. Look out, 40, down the sideline and pushed out of bounds at the 33-yard line. But wait a minute, there's a yellow flag at the line of scrimmage. Weston Eubanks, the man who finally pushed Brett Helt out of bounds, but it's not going to matter. This one's coming back.
Yeah, it's going to be a hold on the right tackle, Jacob Smith, who was able to really free Brett coming on the outside. But, at this point, it's kind of like just add it to the list. He had a great drive before that had come to nothing. Now you're looking at a 1st and 20 to try to answer a Boyd touchdown. So, at this point, I mean, you really just need something solid coming from the Lions.
Yep. And this is going to be pushed back to the 30, inside the 30. The nose barely touching the 30-yard line. So it'll be 1st down and 20 for the McKinney Lions with 4:43 left to go in the first. We thought this was going to be a shootout with massive points scored, and it's been kind of quiet so far. Only one touchdown. We're only halfway through the first. Handoff, Brett held again, right side again, same play, and finally driven out of bounds. Not much like the last play. This one only 5 yards. Keith Owens, the defensive end, brings him out of bounds.
Monty, I had that same thought of why we were looking at 4 minutes with only one touchdown scored. Really, I think if McKinney is going to have any shot late in the game, they're going to need to control time of possession by an almost 2-1 margin.
By the way, Keith Owens, the guy who made the tackle there, if you want to see him up close in person, he sings and plays guitar at Cadillacs down the road here.
Really?
Yeah. How about that?
I've got respect for people who can play the guitar.
Brett Helt, 31 yards so far on the night. 2nd down and 13 for McKinney Lions. And he gets the hand again. Right tackle goes outside and can't get back to the line of scrimmage. Almost a late hit on someone from McKinney Boyd. It goes flying over the top at the very end of the play. And no flag is thrown, as this one will bring up 3rd down and 10 with 3:44 and rolling here in the first. McKinney Lions and McKinney Boyd Broncos.
And now you look at the penalty. They've gone 10 yards on this drive only to get back to where it started, so it's officially a 0-yard drive. I tell you, holding penalties are one of the worst because they're so common and they're 10 yards.
And that was a play that got them a 1st down on 1st down too, so very costly.
At 30 yards at that, now they're trying just to struggle to get 20.
2 receivers either side. And Lee rolling out, wanting to throw on the run, and he does. And he's met immediately. Helt makes the catch. And Zach Adamczyk, form tackle of the perfect variety, knocks him backwards, and it'll be 4th down and 9 with 3 minutes to go and rolling here in the first.
Yeah, the Broncos really are starting to figure out the weakness of this Lion offense is if you just put pressure on Zach Lee, he doesn't respond well. He doesn't have the ability to make, Darren Alves type improv and make something out of nothing, and that usually your form passers, that's the case.
Jared Farley's punt is going to be a low line driver. It's going to be taken by Cody Sieber at the 25-yard line, running left to the 30, to the 35, and driven out of bounds at the 38-yard line. The hang time on the punt, 3 seconds, 0.06. 3.06.
Let me ask you a question. How does an offensive tackle be the first one down the field on the cover? Do you know? The returner grabs it, and sitting there is Jacob Smith. Somehow he's the first guy down the field.
Yeah, and he only runs a 5.2.
You know what I mean? They got to get that straightened up. You need one of your fast guys to make a play there.
33-yard punt by Jared Farley brings McKinney Boyd back out on the field. Here's Robinson on the end-around reverse, and the McKinney Lions sniffed that one out immediately. And a loss of 2 on the play. He'll bring up 2nd down and 12 for McKinney Boyd, moving left to right. And on the stop for McKinney, will be getting credit anyway, is Joseph Blackeray.
Well, yeah, you can pick any number of guys there. There's definitely going to be some half tackles issues. And really, if this Lions defense is going to see any improvement, they've got to see game tackling. They've got to see more than one guy around the ball.
Joseph Blackier, I should say. 1:54 on the clock in the first quarter, 7-0. McKinney Boyd leading McKinney High here. 2nd down and 12. Alves is going to keep it over right tackle. He's got a seam to the 50. Look out, drug down at the 48-yard line. 15-yard run by Darren Alves, brought down by Ryan Hughes, the middle linebacker. And I think what the McKinney Lions are probably doing is having Ryan Hughes man-on-man eyeing Darren Alves. Wherever you go, I go.
That's still a losing battle, though, for McKinney. Bare minimum, you need one of your faster. And I don't have an answer. If I were a defensive coordinator and I'm facing Boyd, I don't have an answer.
Well, it's kind of like stuff. It's kind of like in basketball, the old box and one. You have to do something like that, I think. 76 yards for Alves already on 4 carries. And this is going to be the quarterback moving over from the slot. That's Jonathan Griffin. He'll sometimes do that. He'll stand in front of Alves And Ryan Hughes makes the stop again. He just ran over left tackle, not much doing there, and I think might have even lost a yard.
Yeah, they were trying for a quarterback option with Alves as the pitch man, but I'm thinking if you're about to get tackled, find a way to pitch it.
2nd down and 11. As I'm dealing with a torn Achilles tonight, and I'm normally standing up all night. This is kind of wearing me out. Here's Alves looking left, throwing over there and trying to find Gibson, who makes the catch. And it's good for about 6 yards up to the 42-yard line. Dominic Gardner on the stop for the McKinney Lions, and they'll bring up 3rd and 5 as we near the end of the first quarter. 7-0, McKinney Boyd leading the McKinney Lions.
Hey, Monty, let me give you just a question here. Do you think those corners are playing a little too lightly here? I mean, because that ball is in the air. It's still caught before the cornerback even gets close to the receiver. And I'm thinking if you're going to have any success against stopping Darren Alves' passing game, you need to take away his bread and butter. I mean, look at that. That's a 10-yard cushion.
3rd and 5 for McKinney Boyd. Montarius Pittman comes in motion, stands behind Alves. 10 seconds on the first quarter clock. Rolling right, now stops, throws over the middle, looking for Mazer, and he makes the catch at the 32. Down the sidelines, look out to the 5. It is touchdown time in Texas. Darren Alves, another touchdown pass. This one 42 yards to Cameron Mazer.
Wow. Well, that's just a textbook play right there. They overloaded the secondary on the left side. They put most of their guys out there. Cameron Mazer sitting in the backfield. Then they send their receiver Chase Ennis down the field. Mazer runs a simple out of the backfield, and basically that's a losing proposition for McKinney because the likelihood of a linebacker getting there in coverage is pretty low, and so that leaves basically one blocker on one corner, and Mazer's able to run free for the touchdown.
The extra point by Philip Richardson is good. 14-0, and that's the end of the first quarter. McKinney Boyd on top of McKinney at Ron Poe Stadium. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker, along with the rest of the gang here, we're ready for the JBS Express kickoff. And Philip Richardson, they faked the quail this time. They'll back up. That'll give me time to do the Mike's Economy transmission scoring drive recap. 5 plays, 62 yards for McKinney Boyd. It takes 2 minutes and 31 seconds off the clock, and Darren Alves hooks up with Cameron Mazer for 42 yards on the touchdown pass. And this kick's going to bounce at the 20, roll down to Dario Jackson, who picks it up, and he's looking for a seam. Look out to the 40, 45. It's a foot race to the 40. Kissing goodbye to the 20, 15, 10. Dario Jackson goes 84 yards, and a flag down in the end zone.
Well, you wonder what that could be after that drive. But, man, you know, Monty, this is exactly what the Lions needed. It looked like Boyd had all the momentum in the world. You know, Dario had a good return on the last one, and this time he finds that exact same seam. This time, though, there's no Broncos in backup. The kicker does his best, but, you know you're in trouble if you're asking the kicker to make a tackle on return.
Well, Mike's Economy transmission. No plays, 84 yards, all right?
Something like that. Again, it goes back to one of my basic philosophies on football. If you're going to win, you're going to win by having 2 of your 3 squads play well, offense, defense, and special teams. Right now for McKinney, it's just special teams. If they can get anything else going, you have a chance. And Monty, I don't know what else the Lions can do. They had a great drive, but right now their total yards, they're losing that 152 or 142 to 57.
We're seeing what the penalty is. It's going to be against McKinney.
Had a feeling when you see a flag in the end zone, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, and it'll be stepped off on the kickoff. Matt Hansen is the holder, and he'll tee it up for C.J. Gonzalez. And now Coach Bobby Rays wants an explanation of what that penalty was about.
And that's one of the toughest things to do. How do you tell, high school kids to rein it in,
Maybe we'll check down with Jonathan Leidy and see what Jonathan has for us. Did you get that penalty information?
We did. That was a personal foul that's going to be taken on the kickoff for excessive celebration. But I've got 2 apparent things that we talked about before the game, and that's McKinney is more confident with their run than they are with their pass, and the Boyd defense is stiffened up on the pass defense. Back up to y'all.
All right. Thanks a lot, John Leidy on the sidelines. Hansen puts it down, and C.J. Gonzalez puts it through, and that cuts the lead. 14-7, McKinney Boyd still on top of McKinney here at Ron Poe Stadium. 11:46 left to go in the second quarter. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Well, the JBS Express kickoff is going to be teed up way back at the 25-yard line due to the personal foul penalty against the McKinney Lions. And we really don't have a Mike's Economy transmission scoring drive recap because it wasn't a drive, it was a kick return. 84 yards by Dario Jackson, who picked it up off the turf at the 16-yard line, scored it through at about the 20, stumbled at about the 50 after I believe it was Parker Bolinas who tried to shoestring tackle him. But he got around that tackle and went to the house.
And that's all that matters. If you can do that, get past that last player. It's all green space in front of you, and if you've got the speed, you're going to get there. And Dario Jackson got speed.
C.J. Gonzalez, low line drive kick, is going to bounce at the 20, and Montarius Pickman's going to pick it up at the 12-yard line, going right hash, right up the middle. He could be gone. No, it was finally brought down at the 42-yard line. He had a burst there for a minute, flagged down after a 31-yard return. Jordan Kilwine brings him down, the 6', 200-pound senior.
Yeah, that's going to be in the area of an illegal block of some kind. So, you talk about it. At this point of the game, Boyd had no penalties. That's going to change here. But you really, if you're McKinney, need to grab a hold of this momentum here. It's not a must, but man, a stop would be good for these guys. And on the other end, if you're Boyd, we got to cover both teams fairly. If you're Boyd, you need to grab a hold of that momentum back.
11:45 left to go in the second quarter. McKinney Boyd leading here 14-7. Darren Alves, you want symmetry? How about this? 3 out of 3 passing for 74 yards. On the ground, 4 carries, 76 yards rushing, and 1 touchdown apiece.
Yeah, but he can't pass, Monty.
Yeah. First down and 10 for McKinney Boyd. Backed up at their own 20-yard line now. Grant Gibson will be split out wide to the left. Pittman in the slot to the right. And Chase Ennis split out wide right. Alves all alone in the backfield. Now sends Mazer. He'll stand behind him and a little bit to his left. Alves barks, gets it. He runs to the left side. And he's trying to cut it up 20. Shakes a defender down at the 30-yard line. A 10-yard gain on first down for Darren Alves. And we've seen that before.
Yeah, a couple times. Once or twice here and there, but again, it goes back. Right now, Jared and I were talking, these defensive ends aren't keeping contained very well, and if you have good linebackers that can overcome that, then it's not as big a deal, but and to their credit, it's hard to keep contained on Darren Alves. He can get to that corner faster than anybody I've ever seen at the high school level.
Pittman comes in motion this time, stands behind Alves, 2 receivers to the left side, and Alves hands it off right up the middle, and that's Pittman for 4 yards to the 35-yard line. And Josh Jackson brings him down. Pittman, an interesting kid, played football for the very first time last year, and that you just don't see that with kids at this level. No, you don't see that. Played his first football last year. It's an amazing thing, and he tore his ACL at the end of the year.
Well, if you're going to do it at one time or another, I guess the end's the better time.
By the way, I have some Van Alstyne people to apologize to here in a moment. Here's Darren Alves, and he'll toss it out to Chase Ennis to the right side. First down for Ennis, and he'll be brought down at the 42-yard line after a first down. DeJuan Swinney will be credited for the tackle, the left defensive end. Okay, so last week, it was the big Howell versus Van Alstyne rivalry, and we got out of here pretty quick because we had an early kick, and we had a pretty quick game, so I sprinted up Highway 75 up to Van Alstyne, and I got to the game, and it was a little out of hand, I should say.
In fact, you got so disappointed you tore your Achilles.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess you could say that. So, anyway, I'll finish the story in a moment after this 1st and 10 for the McKinney Boyd Broncos. This is a handoff by Alves to Robinson up the middle, and he's met finally after about an 8-9 yard gain. It'll be second down and short right at the midfield stripe. So I have these friends, and I tore my Achilles earlier in the week, so I'm limping around up here, about to have surgery on Tuesday. And I always get my hair cut at Sheer Elegance in Van Alstyne. And they, for years and years, and I've known the girl who owns Sheer Elegance, and she went to Van Alstyne, I went to Howe, we're the same age, and we forever have gone back and forth at each other, kidding each other over the years. Well, today she had a present for me. It was a Black Panther dressed in blue with a cast on its foot.
Oh, no.
Here's Alves running around the right side. He's got a first down to the 40, inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. And another first down for Darren Alves. Oh, we've seen that before.
Yeah, right now, I'm going to get to that story real quick, but just want to point out, I think the Lions need to get a turnover. You know, they're having trouble stopping them in terms of downs. A turnover would do them good. But Monty, I got to ask you, does your hairstylist listen to the broadcasting at all?
You know what? It's very scary when you're a hairstylist. You know, she has a lot of control over you,
yeah.
you know. So you got to be nice. So.
In fact, I was wondering why you had that stripe down that was bald.
Hey, don't tell me that. First and 10, Darren Alves looking right side, wants to throw it. He undershoots his receiver, Chase Ennis. And that is Darren Alves' first incompletion of the night. He has 99 yards rushing. 9:06 left to go in the first. McKinney Boyd up on top, 14-7 over the McKinney Lions.
Yeah, Monty, that last pass, one of the reasons it's incomplete. Darren Alves, his biggest weakness is throwing across his body, no matter where it is on the field. And that's exactly what that was. It was an out pass he threw across his body. Ennis was open. If he could have gotten it there, it would have been a decent play.
Second down and 10 as Joseph Robinson will come in motion. He'll stand behind Alves. Two receivers to the left, and this will be a fake to Robinson. Alves is going to keep it around the left side. Spins one tackler, spins two tacklers, and inside the 26-yard line, another first down rushing for Darren Alves, as it'll be Josh Jackson on the stop for the McKinney Lions.
You know, normally I would comment at this point on how bad the tackling's been right now for the Lions, but mostly it's been bad on one player. And we've seen him do that to serve. In fact, you know, the only team that's held him in check really has been Copper's Cove, and he's made them look bad a time or two. So, you know, you hope to get better tackles, but again, as a defense coordinator, I don't have an answer.
8:44 and rolling here in the second. McKinney Boyd on top, 14-7. Man in motion. Mazer will come stand beside Alves in shotgun. Oh, they bring Pittman too. They haven't done this yet. Pittman comes across, and he gets the hand. 25, 20, trying to foul on the outside. 15, flag down at the 10, and out of bounds goes Pittman. This will be a hold, and they'll bring it back. They actually brought two men in the backfield along with Alves. That never, ever happens. But they brought a man in motion, and then they basically just handed off to him in motion.
Yeah, you give me Cameron Mazer as a lead blocker, and I'll give you a good runner. But on that play, Chase Ennis blocking out on the outside. You know, I said I saw one of the best blocks that I've ever seen a receiver do on the prior drive for Boyd, and it was delivered by Chase Ennis. And this is a lot more of what you'll see. Receivers aren't used to blocking. I mean, that's just not their milieu. And Pittman was trying to come around on the outside, and Chase, you know, being, and I can say this as a former receiver, just kind of off guard, and he ended up holding somebody to keep his block.
Grant Gibson comes near side. Chase Ennis split out wide right. Man in the slot, actually two men in the slot. Pittman and Robinson. Alves in the gun, drops back 2 steps. Now wants to run left side, cuts it up right side to the 20. Down, no, he's not down. Now he finally is at the 22-yard line. You can't tell sometimes when that young man is down because he takes a hit that anybody would go down except him. He somehow finds his feet and can get another couple of yards. It was Christoph Lopka who makes the stop for McKinney.
Yeah, Travis Tarver's the one who you thought delivered that big hit, and that sophomore's starting to impress me a little bit. I'm seeing some things I like out of him. And, you know, again, you talk about he's done that to many people. Alves able to take a vicious hit and keep going.
Alves wants to throw to Ennis out the right side, and a great play by Tarver to get his hand on the ball and knock it down out on the quick out on the far sideline. He was trying to hit Ennis on the quick out, and Tarver jumped the route and got his right hand up and knocked it down.
Boy,
great play.
That was almost close to that turnover that I was saying the Lions needed to get earlier. You know, because at this point, I don't feel comfortable if I'm the Lions and Boyd's in a 3rd and 20 that we're going to stop him consistently.
3rd down and 5 for McKinney Boyd at the McKinney 22-yard line. 7:44 left to go before half. 14-7, McKinney Boyd leading over McKinney. Alves in the gun, wants to run left, trying to get a block from Mazer. Gets a great block to the 20 and out of bounds at the 16-yard line. Mazer came up and really lowered his shoulder and popped Ryan Hughes. And that sprung Alves for a few more yards.
Again, you give me Cameron Mazer as a lead blocker, and I'll show you a good running back.
Cameron Mazer moved over from Sacramento, California last year before the season. And everyone said, you know, his parents, I believe, from what I hear, his parents came up and said, this young man could play football. We'd like for him, you know, he's a good football player. Well, let's see how good he is. He's in Texas now, and he apparently dominated on JV. and he forced the coaching staff to put him on varsity, and he was amazing last year.
And there's a reason. He's just hard-nosed, smart football player.
From the slot comes Pittman. He gets the hand, running left tackle, lowers his head, runs over Tarver at the 12-yard line. And he'll gain 3 or 4 yards on first down. He'll bring up second down and about 7 with 7:24 enrolling here in the second quarter. McKinney Boyd leading 14-7 over McKinney.
Yeah, right now with the Broncos being able to do just whatever they want to on offense, that's kind of a wasted opportunity there by Tarver. He basically set back, let Pittman run him over, and that's a situation where Tarver needs to put some muscle into that tackle like he did on Alves a couple plays ago.
Alves in the gun on the 13th play of the drive. Pittman comes back in motion, and he'll stand behind Alves, and he gets the hand again. Left guard bounces it out. 10, look out, 5, in the end zone. It is touchdown time in Texas. Montarius Pittman takes it to the house from 15 yards out.
Pick your poison. Pittman, Alves, Chase Ennis, Cameron Mazer. My gosh, this offense is stacked with some players who can play.
The man they simply call Montarius Pittman, had a huge gaping hole to the left side. Here is Richardson's kick for the extra point, and it is good. 21-7, McKinney Boyd in the lead. 6:50 left to go before half. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
97.5 KLAK.
Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium, where Montarius Pittman just took it in from 12 yards out. Here's Philip Richardson's kick on the JBS Express kickoff. It's going to be taken at the 15-yard line and fumbled. And Fee will bring it up. That's not Fee. That's, believe, is down, by the way, at the 36-yard line. On the return for McKinney was Damian Willis. So with 6:41 left to go in the second quarter, McKinney Boyd on top, 21-7. The latest touchdown, like I said, was a 12-yarder by Montarius Pittman. 13 plays, 80 yards on the drive. 4 minutes and 56 seconds off the clock. And that is your Mike's Economy Transmission Scoring Drive recap. First downs tonight, McKinney Boyd leading 11-3, and total yards 272-57. Boyd dominating this football game. Lee's going to hand off up the middle to Brett Helt. Helt gains maybe 1, maybe 2, and forced backwards by that McKinney Boyd defensive line. And it'll be second down and 10 if they give him no gain. Actually, I think they're going to give him 3 yards on that.
Yeah, he moved that pile pretty quickly before momentum stopped. And, you look back at that first drive, Brett Helt was a pretty big part of that, Monty, and I don't know that they've gotten away from it or if the Boyd Bronco defense has really gotten better. But it's been a drastic change of events since that first Lion drive.
6:04 and rolling here in the second. Lee in the gun, drops back, looks left, wants to throw. Now he finally throws it down the field for Farley, and he overshoots him by 3 steps. Cody Sieber in coverage along with Cameron Mazer. Farley had them both beat, but Lee's pass just a little bit out in front.
I don't know how much he had him beat. He had a step or two, but man, Monty, you look down closer to Lee, Alex Horatio is wide open. I mean, I know Zach's trying to get a home run ball, but you're not going to score 14 points in one play. You just got to methodically move down the drive. That would have been a first down, but, right now Zach's not playing the best quarterback we've seen him play.
Third down and 7. And Lee will send 2 receivers to either side. 2 men in the slot, 2 wideouts. Lee wants to throw over the middle, and Farley caught it and dropped it. And then Mazer makes the interception at the 42-yard line. It went in and out of the hands of Farley, deflected. It was a hard thrown ball. It goes in and out of the hands, and Mazer just happened to be right there, and he had to stretch and dive for it, and he did and brought it down.
I've seen center fielders make worse catches than that with the glove, I mean, that was going across his body. His momentum was taking him forward. He had to all of a sudden go to his left.
Zach Lee's 3rd interception of the year. Wow.
As flashy as Darren Alves is on offense, Cameron Mazer is that caliber in his solid, just mental football play. He's got to be one of the smartest football players on this team.
Boy, Boyd could run out the second quarter clock here. 5:49 left to go in the second, leading 21-7. Alves on the run to the right side. Look out, 50, 45, 40. A foot race to the 30, down to the 25. at the 20-yard line, finally brought down from behind. 38-yard run for Darren Alves right up the gut, and it was Jamel Fee who finally brought him down.
That's kind of the asterisk you got to put if you're Boyd trying to run out the clock, is Alves can put lots of yards together real fast.
Wow. 38, I'm sorry. 162 yards on 10 carries for Darren Alves in a quarter and a half tonight. God. Wow, the young man is amazing. Pittman will stand behind Alves in the gun, and Alves is going to hand to him. Big hole up the middle, 15 to the 10 to the 5 and down right there. So another big run right up the middle. And Travis Tarver, the safety, will make the tackle for McKinney as Ryan Hughes checks out of the game.
Monty, right now it looks like what the line defense is doing in terms of tackling is sitting back and letting the ball carriers come to them. And that is bad form tackling, because you're going to see Pittman got hit, was taken to the ground, and he still was able to get an extra 5-7 yards out of it.
2 receivers to the right and 2 to the left. And look out for Jonathan Griffin, who's into the game in the slot to the left. And Mazer comes back from his tight end position, and he'll try to lead block for Alves to the right side. It's touchdown time in Texas, and that was probably the easiest touchdown he's ever scored. Untouched, a 5-yard jog into the end zone with 4:44 left to go in the second quarter, and McKinney Boyd just stepped on the gas.
Well, their offensive line is much improved this game than they were last game against Copper's Cove. They're getting pushed, they're getting penetration, and then at the same time the receivers are blocking well. But it's like the golden egg right now. They can't do anything wrong, the Broncos offense.
The extra point is true, and now McKinney Boyd leading 28-7 with 4:44 left to go in the second here at Ron Post Stadium. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Darren Alves, a 5-yard touchdown for McKinney Boyd. That young man is amazing. Here's the kick. JBS Express kickoff is going to be taken at the 25-yard line, and this time Boyd does a great job of swarming around the football. The Mike's Economy transmission scoring drive recap, 3 plays, 58 yards. So much for running out the clock. Took only a minute and 5 seconds off that clock. And Darren Alves goes over from 5 yards out. He set up the score with a 38-yard run of his own. Amazing. You know, players like this come around in a program once every quarter century or so, and you just got to sit back and enjoy it when these kids come around.
Let's say, are we getting jaded? Because you kind of just look at them do that, oh, another 40-yard run.
You know, we did that in Denison with Corey Robertson several years ago. Those kids don't come around very often. 3 receivers to the right side, and Brett Helt gets the carry around the right side, gets a great block to the 40, 45, near midfield and down at the 50-yard line. They'll actually give him the 49 on the other side, and it was 21 yards on the play for Brett Helt before being brought down by Weston Eubanks.
Yeah, one of the more well-executed plays by the Lions. The offensive line made all of their blocks, and a good job by Zach Lee. He held that on just long enough to allow the guy who was coming in the backfield to get out of the way before giving it off to Brett, and then Brett following his blockers downfield. Nice job on that offensive play.
Brett Helt 59 yards so far this evening. 1st and 10 for McKinney, left to right. 4:11 left to go in the second quarter. And motion on the play before this one can get underway, and it'll be stepped off against the McKinney Lions. Again, 28-7, McKinney Boyd leading here. 4 minutes away from the halftime show, American Bank of Texas halftime show. It was a false start against McKinney.
Yeah, that was Brian Warren, the senior right guard.
4th penalty of the night for McKinney, only 1 for McKinney Boyd. Amazing numbers coming out of this football game for McKinney Boyd. Over 200 yards rushing. And here's Zach Lee handing off to Helt, and he's in trouble. And another loss on the play. They might give him a line of scrimmage. But it'll be marked. Yeah, it will be ruled no gain there. Second down and long, 3:43 and rolling. And this, this is one of those games. Last year in this football game, they said McKinney quit. After McKinney got down by McKinney Boyd, they said the Lions just gave up. And Brett Helt said today that Yeah, that's probably true, but that's not going to happen tonight. We'll see. Lee throws from the left side. He's got Will Rogers. He makes the catch at the 48, turns around to the left side, and spins his way to the 44-yard line, 5 yards shy of a first down. Cameron Mazer makes the stop for McKinney Boyd after that 10-yard pass and catch from Zach Lee to Will Rogers, still 5 yards shy of the first down, 3rd and 5.
Yeah, so far tonight, Zach Lee's not playing the best quarterback we've seen him play over the last, year and a third or whatnot, but he still has a chance to right the ship, and if he can do that, the Lions are going to have a better chance in this one.
1 out of 5 on 3rd downs for McKinney. Here's Lee in the gun, looks right side, wants to throw over the middle, and it's caught. And making his way down to the 30-yard line goes Weathers. And Weathers has the first down for McKinney. 13 yards on the pass and catch, and that's really the first sign of life from the McKinney offense we've seen since the first drive, and only Weathers' second catch of the year.
Yeah, and Monty, that pattern's been open all game. That's the first time Lee has been able to see it, and well, I should say at least get it there. He's seen it a couple times, but he was just getting rushed in the process. So if they can find more success in that route, they'll have a better chance too.
3-down lineman for McKinney Boyd rushing Lee under pressure, has to throw it off his back foot down the right side looking for Jackson. It's almost intercepted by Parker Bolinas, who gets up and throws his hands down on the turf as if he should have picked that one off. It was number 1 versus number 1, Bolinas versus Dario Jackson, and the ball falls incomplete.
Yeah, Zach being rushed there by that Bronco defense, getting smothered, and he kind of warned against, trying to make something when you're getting sacked, but he actually had a chance. I just don't know if Jackson made the most of it. And of course, Parker's one of the best corners in the area. 3
receivers to the right side for McKinney. Will Rogers split out by himself over to the left to right going McKinney from the Boyd 32-yard line. 2nd down and 10. Handoff, Brett Helt, nowhere to run. Now bounces it out to the right side. He has some room to run now. Parker Bolinas chasing him down to the 20 and slings him out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Another first down for McKinney, and look out, there's signs of life with 2:11 left to go in the second quarter. A 16-yard run by Brett Helt.
Yeah, good solid call there by the Lions. They're starting to recognize the Bronco blitz, and they did a play-action pass there. The blitzer coming towards Zach Lee, and then Brett takes it, and by the time the blitz man realized what's going on, Helt's already passed him. So this Lion offense starting to get a little bit smarter in their play calls.
They have doubled their first downs on this drive. 3 prior, and now 3 on this drive for McKinney. 2:11 left on the second quarter clock. 3 receivers left. Handoff Helt right up the middle, and met a big hit by McKinney Boyd's Bo Davis at the line of scrimmage. Might have gotten a yard and a half or so for Brett Helt, as that young man's very powerful, and it's kind of like Marion the Barbarian. Even though you pop him, you're still going to get at least 1 yard, and he got 1 there. Under 2 minutes now. McKinney trailing McKinney Boyd 28-7. Hurrying it up to the line of scrimmage. 2 receivers to either side. Weathers and Farley in the slot. Jackson and Rogers split out. Helt in the backfield, along with Zach Lee, the quarterback. Shotgun, rolling right, pitches it out to Helt on the option to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. It's touchdown time in Texas. Zach Lee on the option to Brett Helt down the right sideline, and they punch it in.
What a great play there. Zach Lee knew he was going to take a licking, held on as long as he could, pitched it out. By that time, I think it was Parker. I may have been wrong, but by that time, the defender had already committed to Lee, and that left Brett with some blue blocking some white right in front of him. If they could hold that block, he's in, and that's exactly what happened.
C.J. Gonzalez' extra point is up, and it is true. 28-14. McKinney Boyd still in the lead, but here comes McKinney. 1:29 left to go in the second quarter. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. How about a JB Express kickoff? But first, let's do a Mike's Economy transmission scoring drive recap. It was 8 plays and 60 yards for McKinney High. 3 minutes and 15 off the clock. And Brett Helt gets credit for the 15-yard touchdown, but gives Zach Lee credit on the option. Cody Sieber's going to take the kickoff return, and he'll take it to the 25-yard line, maybe the 26. They'll mark it dead there. So 1:24 left on the second quarter clock. And McKinney Boyd leading the McKinney Lions 28-14. Jordan Kilwine just made the stop on Cody Sieber.
Nice job on the kickoff. I don't know if CJ did it on purpose, but it hit the ground, and bounced straight up in the air, didn't go anywhere, and almost died after that. And that gives the cover team a really big opportunity to, bare minimum, stop any sort of return.
2 receivers to either side for McKinney Boyd. Alves alone in the gun. Barks, low snap, digs it out, looking at the throw across the middle, and is caught by Mazer and dropped at the 36-yard line. In the breadbasket, but he just dropped it. Would have been a first down, but it'll stop the clock at 1:20 here in the second quarter. And if you're McKinney Boyd, that's kind of a surprise play on first down, throwing the football, I would think.
Well, that, the thing that surprised me too was Cameron Mazer dropped it. Normally he's so sure-handed.
Same formation, tight end will stand up on the right side. 2 receivers to either side. This time Robinson will come in motion, stand behind Alves, and a little bit flanked to the right. Under pressure, Alves is going to run to the right side. Big hole, cuts it up. He's got a first down, end over end to the 38-yard line. And Josh Marabo, the guy who flipped him up. And another first down for Darren Alves. We should just have that on recording. Another first down for Darren Alves.
Yeah, save your vocal cords there. If you're the Lions, you're going to blitz as they did on that play. You're really kind of playing with fire. You take one guy out of, in the defensive, back in the secondary and things like that. And on top of that, if you don't find the right play, in that case they came on a blitz on the right, he went the other way, you're flirting with danger.
DeJuan Swinney checks out. Taryn Morris checks in for McKinney. Alves wants to throw on the run again. And he's tackled from behind at the line of scrimmage. And making the play for McKinney, one of the down linemen, I believe. No, that's the guy who just came in. Taryn Morris made the stop. So it'll be second down and 10. Under a minute, actually nearing 30 seconds here before half.
And that's something you don't see too often. It looked like Darren Alves was more concerned with trying to get a pass off there, that he stayed in the backfield and allowed somebody to catch him from behind. That's a rarity.
3 receivers to the near side. Moving right to left, McKinney Boyd on second down and 10. Alves is just going to run it to the left side. And he's pushed and pushed for an 8-yard gain. He got 7 on his own. He was pushed for another one. Jordan Kilwine on the stop for McKinney. It'll bring up third down, but even more importantly, the clock's winding down, and that's going to be the last play of the first half. So McKinney Boyd makes a statement early in this football game. 28-14, they lead at the American Bank of Texas halftime show. We'll be back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms and Kevin McPherson. And it's 28-14, McKinney Boyd in the lead over McKinney. The teams are back out in their end zone doing their stretching and trying to get prepared here for the second half, as McKinney's got some work cut out for them to try to get back in this football game. They had a nice, impressive drive right before the half, but Darren Alves is still on the field.
Right, and that's a tough thing, and that's why I think, I said it once in the broadcast during the first half. I'll say it again. If McKinney's going to have any success, they're going to have to win that time of possession battle about 2-1, because that means, A, you have the ball and you're doing something with it, and B, Darren Alves doesn't. And that's the main thing. And, we talk about Darren Alves, but on the other end of the thing, that offensive line, that blocking scheme, Cameron Mazer, his receiver, I don't know a weak link in that offense. So if you're going to win, you got to keep those guys off the field. On the other end of that means your defense has to do something. And Monty, I don't know if they're up to the task. We haven't seen one punt yet from Boyd today.
Yeah, we've had enormous success from McKinney Boyd. The only time they did not score in the first half was that last drive right before the half. And, obviously they didn't really need to. They weren't in a position where they needed a touchdown. But both teams, like I say, are in the end zone, lining up, doing their calisthenics. We're going to take another quick timeout, and we'll be back with the second half on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with the rest of the gang here, as both teams are now still where they were when we went to break. They're still in their tunnel waiting to come back out on the field. We've had an electric first half. Much of the electricity has been supplied by Darren Alves. Kevin McPherson gave you the stats earlier, as here comes McKinney Boyd back out on the field, jogging through their Bronco helmet from the south end zone. McKinney in the north end zone, still doing their stretching, waiting to come through their big blue helmet. McKinney Boyd, here's the dangerous part. Boyd's going to get the ball first here out of the second half.
Yeah, and, I mean, that's kind of a risky play when you figure out if you want the ball or if you don't. You'd like to set the tone early. And, Monty, think about where we'd be if that first drive was successful. Let's say they score a touchdown. Obviously, that's very tough to predict because you don't know what the chain of events would have been afterwards. But, they had a really good drive that ended in nothing. And on the other end of the thing, there has been no Boyd drive that ended in nothing minus, the end of the clock reading 0 at halftime. I mean, it's just been really lopsided. And again, I say it. McKinney has to hold the ball longer, and that defense needs a turnover.
And this is a game where I really thought, as McKinney comes back out through their run-through here, this is a game where I really thought McKinney would come out scoring the points. And I thought it would be a shootout, to be honest with you. And it may still be. It's still, just the first half. It's 28-14. That's still a lot of points.
Yeah, you bet. Both sides have only had the ball 5 times. One of those for McKinney ended in an interception. One, the other 2 were punts. They're not exactly out of this thing. On the other end, you got to get a stop. It's really been ball control and I'm surprised Boyd's doing this. We talk, you talk about running out the clock at the end of halftime, and Alves all of a sudden springs one. They don't really hold the ball too long, but they've done it today. They've only had really 4 bona fide possessions and a half.
Well, I guess the good part, if you're a McKinney fan, is the fact that if you look at the defense and the points given up on defense, most of the damage has been done in the first half. They've been a little bit more stingy in the second half, giving up only 27 points in the third and 16 in the fourth. But I guess the tricky thing to that, their offense doesn't score as much in the second half as they do the first half. So something's got to give here.
When you kind of maybe chalk some of that up, when your team's leading big, you'll put a lot of the backups in. You don't know if that's it or not. Let's hope that rings true because, we'd like to see both teams do well. And right now, Boyd has done exceptionally well, and McKinney's been streaky.
And McKinney Boyd always does their damage in the second quarter. They always put their points on the board in the second quarter. Even when Don Drake was at McKinney North, they dominated the second quarter. For some reason, that's Don Drake's quarter. And coming out here, McKinney Boyd has only scored 1 touchdown, 7 points in the third quarter in all of the 3 games so far. As we're underway, the JBS Express kickoff by Gonzalez is going to be a short kick and taken at the 18-yard line by Mont Pittman, and he makes his way up the right hash to the 28-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10 from McKinney Boyd, starting out moving right to left with their backs to the north end zone, moving towards that south end zone. 28-14, Boyd in the lead as we're just underway here in the third quarter.
I'll tell you, Monty, the Broncos are playing a dangerous game, letting that ball bounce on a kickoff, because if it takes a wrong turn, we've made mention of it before, the ball's live. You don't have to touch it, and if the Lions get on top of it, that's basically that turnover I was talking about. You want to field that right away.
2 receivers to either side for McKinney Boyd. Alves in the gun by himself, drops back 2 steps, looks right, throws right, and he's got Ennis, who makes the catch at about an 8-yard gain, sidesteps the guy, and goes down after a 10-yard gain to the 39-yard line. 1st and 10 for McKinney Boyd.
Chase Ennis making a nice little move there to pick up the first down. He was going to get about 7 yards. He felt some heat coming in from the inside, made a quick step back, which is a dangerous thing, but it was enough to give him some room and eventually pick up that first down.
We'll check with Jonathan Leidy here in a moment. 11:38 left to go in the third. Joseph Robinson goes in motion, stands behind Alves. 2 receivers either side. High snap. Alves gets it, hands off Robinson, right guard. Now cuts left side, right over the middle to the 46-yard line. We haven't checked down with John Leidy in quite a while. John, down on the sidelines, tell us what you got.
Come out with a little more enthusiasm on defense here, and they're not shooting those defensive ends up the field so much, and they're actually squeezing down and seem to have stopped the run a little bit here. We'll send it back up to you and see how this plays out.
All right, thanks a lot, John. 11:05 left to go in the third, 28-14. Boyd in the lead, and it's 2nd down and 3. Boyd on the run. Here's Mon Pittman in motion, gets the hand coming across, and not much doing there. Didn't find the block on the left side, and he's brought down by a host of Lions. And it'll bring up about a 3-yard need for the first down.
Yeah, Monty, the Lions sent Tavarius Tarver in Travis Tarver in on a blitz upfield. He wasn't going after the ball carrier. It looks like he was just trying to keep anybody from bouncing outside.
3rd down and 3 for McKinney Boyd. A lot of men on the line of scrimmage for McKinney. And Grant Gibson makes the catch on the quick out from Darren Alves, and it's a 1st down inside McKinney territory to the 49-yard line. Move the sticks once again with 10:16 left to go in the 3rd. 28-14. McKinney Boyd on top of McKinney.
Monty Gibson's got some of the best hands you'll ever see in a receiver. He's not going to get you a big play after the catch. He's not going to do much. But if you get it where he can catch it, most of the time he will.
The nephew of Todd Dodge is Grant Gibson. And he'll split out wide left. Alves wants to run right up the middle of big hole to the 45-40. Look out, 35, to the 30, to the 25-20, 15-10, cuts it up inside, cuts it outside, steps out of bounds at the 7-yard line. A huge run by Darren Alves, 43 yards.
I'm sorry if I'm not excited. I've just seen it before.
That young man is amazing.
Well, and that's the funny thing. It looks like McKinney's starting to figure out how to stop him from bouncing outside. So what do? Run it up the middle.
Right up the middle.
But good Lord, this Bronco team knows how to call the plays.
Pittman in motion from the right slot. He'll stand behind Alves in shotgun, and he gets the carry over left guard into the end zone. It's touchdown time in Texas. 6 yards for Mon Pittman. And after the extra point, we'll make it 35-14. Boyd with 9:48 left to go in the 3rd.
Boy, they make it look easy, don't they?
They absolutely do.
I mean, again, pardon me if I'm not excited. I've just seen it before. There's nothing flashy. Maybe the offensive line, they're just blocking whoever they want to, creating huge holes.
Philip Richardson on for that PAT, and it is true. 35-14. 9:48 left to go in the 3rd. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms and the rest of the gang as McKinney Boyd will fake the JBS Express kickoff, and they'll go back in formation. It'll give me time to do a Mike's Economy transmission scoring drive recap. Well, no, it won't. They're going to kick it off. It's going to be a bounce at the 18-yard line and roll out of bounds. So, yes, I will have a chance to do the Mike's Economy transmission scoring drive recap. That one, six plays, 72 yards, took 2 minutes and 12 seconds off the clock, and it was a Mon Pittman 6-yard touchdown, but it was set up by Darren Alves' 43-yard run.
Yeah, on that kickoff, the Lions playing a dangerous game. They let it hit, and you don't know right away if that's going to roll out of bounds, and I tell you, sooner or later you're going to see it. You're going to let the ball hit, and the return team's going to pounce on it. It's a matter of time.
Well, since the ball went out of bounds, they're going to elect to re-kick here and back it up to the 35-yard line, and Philip Richardson will bang it away from there on the JBS Express kickoff. We'll check down with Jonathan Leidy in a moment. John, go ahead, talk to us. What do you got? Well, I thought John Leidy was down there.
I guess not.
Maybe John's down there somewhere if we can find
Yes,
him.
guys, I can hear you. And actually on that last running play by Darren Alves, he did injure his left foot. He's having to retape, so the possibility he might miss a couple plays on the next series. Back up to y'all.
All right, here's Willis on the return, and he'll make his way to the 32-yard line, an 18-yard return by Damian Willis. And we'll have to watch that pretty close.
Yes.
Darren Alves having to get his foot retaped.
Solid reporting by John. He earns his paycheck every now and then.
So McKinney will come out moving left to right here in the third quarter for the first time, down 35-14 to little brother McKinney Boyd. 9:42 left to go in the third quarter. Zach Lee will send his troops out, which include Dario Jackson split out wide right, Weathers in the slot, Farley in the slot, and Will Rogers split out wide left. Brett Helt in the backfield along with Lee. And Lee wants to throw, looking right, down the field. Throws it, it's caught by Weathers at the 44. Slips a defender. He's got his man down to the 49-yard line. Finally tackled by Parker Bolinas, a 19-yard pickup.
You know, Monty, I was just about to say before that play, I wonder if the pressure of having to, keep pace with the Broncos was starting to wear on them a little bit. But then they come out, they throw a play that I said's been open all day. They throw it down the middle, and Weathers just finding that seam.
2 men to either side. Weathers in the slot, Farley in the slot to the left side, Lee in the gun. Helt standing behind him. They give it to Helt, coming towards the sideline. He slips down at the 45-yard line thanks to Parker Bolinas. And Bolinas, really, you're not going to take Brett Helt on up high. You've got to go for his feet. Just like Marion the Barbarian, as Brett Helt said today, that he most resembles.
And mine, I really like Parker Bolinas as a cornerback. There's not anything he's not good at. He's not spectacular in everything, but he's solid in everything.
Here's Lee wanting to throw down the field left side, and it's in and out of the hands and intercepted again. Is that Mazer? It is. Cameron Mazer, his second interception of the night on a tip.
Well, there's nothing Zach Lee can do about that. Weathers has to bring that in. I mean, that's the second turnover in Monty. You can't afford one if you're the Lions. And on the other end, good Lord, Mazer's got to be one of the best players in North Texas. I mean, he's not going to grab anything. He doesn't get a whole lot of stats, but my gosh, is he a player.
He's a football player now, an old-fashioned football player.
I mean,
plays both ways.
Wherever the ball is, you're not going to find him far behind.
And what a great football name he has, Mazer. Yeah. What a classic.
And then he's still on the field, I mean.
2 turnovers for McKinney, and none for McKinney Boyd so far. Joseph Robinson will stand behind Alves in the gun, and he's going to get it straight up the middle in a big hole. That's actually Pittman, and he'll cross the 40 to the 42-yard line, still in Boyd territory. It'll be shy of a first down by about 3 yards to bring up second down and 3, maybe 3.5, or even 4.
I almost kind of want to check down with John to see how the momentum is on that McKinney sideline, but, we already know. I mean, I just can't get over the fact that Zach Lee is a victim of circumstance twice.
Apparently Alves is okay. He's going to hand off to Joseph Robinson, runs over right guard for a first down. Right over the 45-yard line, Ryan Hughes will make the stop for McKinney. And we'll see what Alves does now, since he – John told us that he needed to get his ankle taped again on his left foot. There's an amazing stat Kevin McPherson tells us. There's 18 first downs for McKinney Boyd. We're just underway here in the third quarter. That is amazing. Mon Pittman comes in motion, stands behind Alves. 2 receivers to the left. Handoff, Pittman right up the middle, bursting his way near that midfield stripe. It's not going to get there. 2.5-yard gain on first down. Clock rolling at 7:33. McKinney Boyd on top, 35-14.
You wonder if there might be anything serious with Darren Alves or Drake's just playing it cautious, but he hasn't done anything other than hand it off on this drive.
Brandon Whittam on the stop for McKinney. In this day in McKinney, here's the SID stuff I was going to tell you about.
We never did get to that.
This day in McKinney High School history. And we'll get it right after the second 7 here. 3 receivers to the near side, moving right to left. Darren Alves and McKinney Boyd wanting to throw, and flags will fly on this one.
Yeah, Chase Ennis with a false start there. He's took about a half a step before everybody else did.
On this day in McKinney High School history, on September the 19th, the McKinney Lions are 4-6, and if they don't hurry up and do something about this, they're going to be 4-7. In 1931, on this day, they lost to Woodrow Wilson 13-0 at Fair Park Stadium. Should we say that's the Cotton Bowl?
We can say that now.
Fair Park Stadium in Dallas. And they got a win against Bonham in 1941. Here's second down and 12. 3 receivers to the near side. Shotgun Alves gets it. Another flag right before this one, and another false start. So that'll take us back to this day in history. As they were shut out. McKinney was shut out in 1947 on this day by Sherman at what was called Newsom Stadium here in McKinney, which this stadium replaced. They lost to Crozier Tech in 1952. They were shut out by Denison at Munson Stadium in 1958. They beat Corsicana in 1969 at Tiger Field in Corsicana. Got beat by Greenville at Lions Stadium here on this field in 1975. Here it's third down and 17, second and 17. And Alves is going to be sacked all the way back to the 15-yard line. Ryan Hughes on the blitz from his linebacker position sends Alves all the way back to the 25-yard line.
Coming in on a blitz. I mean, that's a textbook right there. That's textbook if you're assuming that they're going to pass. And Monty, I think they're taking the assumption that right now Darren Alves ain't going to be running the football.
3rd and 27 now for McKinney Boyd.
I guess here in the McKinney day in history got Ryan Hughes fired up to make a play.
Yeah, I guess so.
We got all this tradition. Let me do something.
I haven't really got to the wins yet. Here's Alves wanting to throw, flushed out of the pocket, being chased down from behind. Eludes one defender to the 30, and he can't elude 4 gold helmets right in his face at the 39-yard line. And one of them, Corey Motherwell, and that'll bring up 4th down and still a truckload.
But this defense needed that because they needed a stop of any kind after that interception. They're still going to need some stops, but you got to start somewhere.
It was a 10-yard run by Alves, but he needed 27 because it's 4th and 17 now.
And you still didn't feel comfortable if you're the Lions because you know he can get it.
First punt of the night for McKinney Boyd.
And you notice it's not out? Well, maybe it is.
Philip Richardson back to do the punting, and he'll punt this. No, it's Alves. He'll punt it away. Left-footed punter gets a great bounce. It bounces at the 34 and rolls inside the 25 to the 22-yard line. A great roll makes it 39 yards on the punt for Darren Alves. He punts, he throws, he kicks, he runs, and his hang time was 3.09.
Spins,
jukes, jives,
ducks, dives,
twists, turns.
Puts up with John Lighty. I mean, what does he not do?
4 minutes and 50 seconds left on the third quarter clock. 35-14, McKinney Boyd in the lead. McKinney coming back out on the field now, deep in their own territory at the 22-yard line. 3 receivers to the right. Shotgun. Lee wants to throw to the right side. Has his man. Farley makes the catch behind the line of scrimmage, and he's in trouble. And Schmidt makes the stop, but he falls forward for at least 2 yards, and they'll give him the 25-yard line. So give him a 2-yard gain, 3-yard gain actually, on first down, and give credit to Dylan Smith on the stop for McKinney Boyd.
Yeah, not the best pass there by Zach Lee, but on the other end of the thing, Farley not using his blockers, Monty, and when that play is set up a certain way, you have to use your blockers, and when you go against the grain, you're making it easy for Boyd to stop you.
Zach Lee, 8 out of 13, 69 yards, 2 interceptions on the night. 4 minutes and 14 seconds left to go here in the third. Lee wants to throw down the left side. Now he's going to tuck it, looking for someone to pitch it to. Nobody there, and he's going to fall forward to the 32-yard line. A pretty good job by Lee, even though he had nowhere to go with it, and he just tucked it and ran. Yeah, he ran into Keith Owens.
He could have done better because he got past the line of scrimmage and still thinking he's going to pass it. He needs to take a lesson from Alves here. When you commit to run. You're not going to make a play out of it if you don't.
They're going to measure right here. They're going to pull the sticks, and we're going to talk to Jonathan Lighty. Jonathan, what do you got for us?
Guys, this ball is sitting right on the 32-yard line, and I believe that this will be a first down because to my sight, they had to get to the 32 to get the first down. But let's check. They are looking at it right now, stretching the chain.
Oh, John.
It is a first down. Back up, y'all.
All right.
He was just waiting to give his call. It's first down.
Our own Ed Hockley on the sidelines. Ed Hockley in the news this week, not the good kind. Not the good kind.
Let's hope John doesn't make the news for similar circumstance. You wonder if he flexes his guns.
I want to see John. I want to see John on the sideline flexing his Ed Hockley. Yeah.
Right. I bet he would too.
Handoff Brett Helt. This is a sweep around the right side, and he lowers his shoulder, and he's fun to watch. To the 40-yard line. He's not going to flash anybody to death as Weston Eubanks makes a stop, but he's going to lower his head. And we've made this comparison tonight. If you like to watch Marion Barber run, that's kind of what Brett Helt is.
Yeah, you bet. Definitely lower his
If you like to watch Tony Dorsett, that's kind of what Darren Alves is.
Yeah, to some degree. I don't know I'd make that comparison, but real quick, Monty. Weathers really made that block. He blocked Zach Adamczyk, a receiver blocking a linebacker well.
Well, here's a handoff up the middle, crossing the midfield stripe. And that's Brett Helt again. He has 114 yards on the night. As Josh Russell, the linebacker, will make the stop. They'll move the chains here And another first down for McKinney. 3:10 left to go in the third quarter. McKinney Boyd on top, 35-14.
Well, Monty, this again brings up something we talked about in the pregame show. If this Lion team can find any sort of defense, they're a good team.
3 receivers to the left, Jackson to the right. Lee wants to throw left, throws it out, and is caught by Weathers at the 48, slips one defender and goes down at the 45-yard line. He could not slip the tackle of Cameron Mazer, who was, I thought he did for a moment, but Mazer somehow held onto that shoestring and brought him down.
You know, just putting you on the spot here real fast, can you think of anybody who's eluded the tackle of Mazer on any sort of frequent scale?
No, not really.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. I wonder what it's like to see Alves against Mazer.
Yeah, one-on-one drills in practice. Here's Helt, and he runs right guard, and he spins his way out of one tackle and has the first down inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Brett Helt running like a freight train and runs over Weston Eubanks.
Yeah, and that was just prototypical Helt there. I'm always a big fan of the guy who's not afraid to get in the middle of the field and get dirty. You know, you look at that, that's Brett Helt to the T.
Brett Helt checks out of the game. And Willis checks in. Lee wants to throw down the field, and Farley has it go in and out of his hands. It looked like Farley, who had 3 defenders around him, going across the middle, might have had tippy-toe feet and alligator arms.
Yeah.
And that one will fall incomplete. And somehow Cameron Mazer doesn't make the interception off the tip.
Yeah, you stole my thunder there, and you know, you got to be proud if you're, you know, even if you're on the Boyd side, just to see, because these are your fellow, McKinneyites. Zach Lee hasn't really shied away after that second interception. He's gone right back to it.
Second down and 10. Handoff Damian Willis to the right side, 35 to the 30. Trying to find a block and gets one from Dario Jackson. And he'll make his way 16 yards down to the 22-yard line in Boyd territory. And McKinney is on the move. Josh Russell makes the stop for McKinney Boyd from his linebacker position. 1:56 left to go in the third quarter. 35-14. McKinney Boyd in the lead over McKinney.
Yeah, Monty, we're seeing some great blocking on those receivers for the Lions. They're really holding their block well. And then on the same side of the deal, Jacob Smith is really sealing from his tackle position.
4th first down of the drive for McKinney. Here's Damian Willis popping it out to the left side, in trouble behind the line of scrimmage, and a great tackle behind the line of scrimmage on that far sideline. And that's going to be Cody Sieber, the safety coming up, almost playing a cornerback position, and he'll bring down Willis behind the line of scrimmage. A loss of about 4 on the play to the 26-yard line.
Yeah, the receivers didn't get that block there on the outside that I was just raving them for, but they normally run it to the right side where they're having a lot of success. And that's exactly why those receivers are so important on that play to get a block, because you turn basically what could be a 10, 20-yard gain into a 4-yard loss if you don't get that block.
3 receivers to the right side. Jackson split out wide right. Lee looks that way, throws down the field, and he hits Weathers at the 18-yard line. And a nice play by Bolinas, who picks him up for him, tackles him, throws him on the turf on his back. But he'll get forward progress to the 17-yard lines, an 8-yard pickup for McKinney.
Again, can I fawn over Parker Bolinas? I mean, well, this Bronco team's just full of playmakers, offense, defense, you name it. Again, there's nothing Bolinas is not good at.
I asked Parker Bolinas today, can you tell us about your first varsity game? Do you remember it? He said, yeah, that was the first game we ever played. That's Helt on the pitch, and he'll make his way to the 10-yard line. It just tells you, after an 8-yard run there by Helt, just tells you these kids have been around for a long time. Parker Bolinas was here through 0-10. I mean, they suffered through those bad times to take advantage of the good times that they're having right now. 29 seconds on the third quarter clock and rolling. 35-14, Boyd in the lead over McKinney, but McKinney trying to punch it in right here. 10 yards away. 1st and goal. And Lee hands off Brett Helt, bounces it out to the 10, to the 5. It is touchdown time in Texas. Brett Helt found trouble, bounced it out, sniffed the end zone, and smelled it. 9 seconds left to go in the third. And McKinney now cuts it 35-20, awaiting the PAT.
Yeah, Monty, you got to give a lot of credit to that offensive line. A lot of times if you see a running back go up like that and he's not tackled, it's because the line is still holding their blocks. And then outside, another good block from that receiver, doing just a fantastic job out there.
C.J. Gonzalez extra point is true. 35-21 with 9 seconds left to go in the third at Ron Post Stadium. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms, Kevin McPherson, Jonathan Leidy, and Jared Foyt, not Jared Farley. And it was a 10-yard touchdown run by Brett Helt that capped off Mike's Economy Transmission scoring drive of 12 plays, 78 yards. Took 4 minutes and 41 seconds off the clock. Here's the JBS Express kickoff, and it's going to be taken by an upman who pitches it back. And I believe that's Mon Pittman at the 20. And that was very, very dangerous. But Pittman secures it and goes down at the 20-yard line. And Boyd will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20, moving right to left. Only 1 second left to go in the third quarter. Boyd leading 35-21.
That was dangerous on two fronts, Monty. Again, they let it bounce, and they almost got bit by it because the bounce didn't go to anybody in particular. And then when it was picked up, they pitched it to an unsuspecting pitch man. You know, and Pittman made the bet, something out of nothing at least, but boy, that'll make a coach turn gray fast.
Only 1 second on the clock here in the third quarter. And they're setting the chains right here. 1st and 10. They're taking all this time to set the chains. They're just going to have to move them here in a second and switch sides. Alves in the gun, sends 2 receivers to either side. Mazer from his tight end position will now come back and stand beside Alves. Somebody moved a little early, no flag. Alves runs right side, and he's still running. Has the first down to the 34-yard line, a 14-yard run on first down for Darren Alves. And that's the end of the third quarter. 35-21, McKinney Boyd leading McKinney at Ron Poe Stadium. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Fourth quarter time in Texas, 35-21. McKinney Boyd leading McKinney as they turn around, and now Boyd will move left to right. Mazer in the backfield along with Alves, who has 244 yards rushing on the night, and add to it here. He gets around the left side looking for the 40, has the 40, 45, cuts it up to the 50-yard line. And he'll have the midfield stripe after another 16-yard gain for Darren Alves, and that's putting him pretty close. I mean, he just inches further towards 300 yards rushing tonight. Dominic Gardner on the stop.
Yeah, he's almost close to 1,000 yards in 4 games, and that's just sick, man, I tell you. But Monty,
and it's very quiet too. He hasn't ripped off any 80 or 90 yards.
That's the funny thing. We call 40-yard runs quiet. Yeah, how jaded have we become?
Yeah, we're pretty jaded. 1st and 10 for McKinney Boyd. Pittman now will come in motion. He'll stand behind Alves. Usually gets the hand here. And he will get the handoff right up the middle. Now squirts over right side. 5, 6, 7 yards on first down.
Monty, you know how you can tell when an offense is working well for you is when you like you just said, this is when he gets the call here, being Pittman. You run the same play and you have success with it.
Jamario Mack makes the stop. And Chris Afiopka will come in for McKinney. And Taryn Morris will check out. It'll be 2nd down and 5, so only 5 yards where I said it was 7 a moment ago. 3 receivers to the right side, 2nd down and 5. Alves is in trouble and sacked behind the line of scrimmage. A great job again by Ryan Hughes on the blitz. They're sending Hughes right up the gut. Alves, as we've seen so many times in the gun, will take the snap, drop 2 steps back, and then look to run. Almost a quarterback draw type of situation. Well, he took the 2 steps back, and Ryan Hughes was right in his face.
Yeah, he took those steps with him. And, you know, right now, when it works, it works. You know, the blitz. But, you know, Boyd has been really good at calling a play during a certain blitz that exploits it.
3 receivers right, 2 left. Alves wants to throw. Now he wants to run. Right side, lots of room to the 45, and finally hit and short of the first down by Ryan Levens with the big pop. Corey Motherwell also there. And it'll be 4th down and about 2. And, you know, if you're McKinney Boyd, why not? Might as well here.
That brings up a point, though. If you don't get it, you know, all of a sudden, because right now all you need to do is just keep pace. Well, I can see the merits of doing both. Although I'm almost going to be expecting a quick kick here.
56 points in this football game already. That's the most ever by any of these 2 teams in either of the 2 games they played. Here's Alves with a big hole, and he's got the first down to the 37-yard line. A first down for McKinney Boyd. Ryan Levens will make the stop again. Last year, 34-21 to 13. That's 47 points by my Howe math. And tonight, 35-21 is 56 points. So lots of points being scored early on this year in 2008 by both teams.
Yeah, you bet. On that play, Monty, Corey Motherwell had a chance to stop Alves behind the first down marker, but again, just couldn't make a tackle.
Mon Pittman comes out of his slot in motion, stands behind Alves. He gets the hand, and he's running left guard, and he's got an 8-yard carry, maybe 9, inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. I'm interested to see from John Leidy what it looks like down on that McKinney sideline. They had a good long drive, and it did a nice job of punching it in. And how's the momentum down there, John?
My thoughts are that McKinney is holding their heads up high because they know that there's only 2 touchdowns out of this game. They're able to come out in the second half and put a touchdown up on the board and actually prove to themselves that they're still in this game. So we're going to send it back on up.
All right, thanks, John. Pittman with 78 yards in the game. Of course, Alves over 250. Second down and 2 here, and this will be Griffin coming out of his slot, and he'll get the snap. He's going to run the option, and he should have pitched it out to Darren Alves, who was behind him. Jonathan Griffin kept it and was really met and hammered by John Marable at the line of scrimmage. The safety came up and knocked him down.
That's twice that play has been run, and that's twice we should have said he should have pitched it. I mean, I don't know if it's that McKinney is just jumping on it real fast, or if Griffin's just happy to get the ball that he's trying to show that he can make a play. I mean, I don't know, but that play has gone beyond the line of scrimmage not once of those 2 times.
Yep, 2 plays for Griffin, 2 rushes, and -1 each time. 3 receivers to the right. Now Griffin will come back, and he'll stand behind Alves. Alves will get it, and he'll fake the hand, and he's under pressure again. And thrown back for a huge loss. Another blitz by McKinney. And they're right in Alves' tracks before he could get there.
I'm wondering if we might have an offsides on that blitz because that was thrown right as the ball was, that flag was thrown right as the ball was snapped. Nope, we're going to have a false start. So it's actually going to be a dead ball foul. Boyd catching a break here. They'll still have a chance to do the third down.
Well, right.
3rd down and 8's not much of a obstacle for these guys.
Ryan Harmon was the man responsible for tracking down Alves in the backfield there. It was a blitz by Harmon. What a nice play. And I think McKinney's finally figured out, hey, we're going to have to start pressuring here.
Well, we might actually have not a false start, but an illegal procedure, which isn't a dead ball foul. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, it's a legal procedure, so we might have had, I'm not sure exactly what caused that play, but it wasn't a dead ball false start, so that sack's going to count, Monty. Boy, that's really big for the Lions.
4th down and 12 for McKinney Boyd now at the McKinney 38-yard line. 3 receivers to the right, including the stand-up tight end Mazer. 2 to the left. Alves wants to throw. Under pressure again. Eludes 1 defender. Eludes 2. Eludes 3. Look out! To the 30. 25. Jumps over a defender inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. An incredible run by Darren Alves. Escapes 5 defenders. 20 yards. Unbelievable.
And on top of that, add some salt to that wound for the McKinney Lions defense. Sitting down there on the ground, holding his leg is Ryan Harmon. He's up limping off the field thanks to the trainers. But Monty, my gosh, you get him at 3rd and 12, and you let Alves do what he does best, get in an open field and make you miss.
279 yards rushing for Darren Alves. Need I say more?
Yeah, just another day at the office.
7 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. 35-21. Boyd in the lead. And after that miracle run, they're definitely in control here. Pittman will stand behind Alves from his slot position. He gets the handoff right up the middle, and he barrels his way past 1 defender, and he'll be brought down after about a 1, maybe 2-yard gain at the 18-yard line. Clock rolling. Nearing 7 minutes.
Monty, that conversion was big for one reason. Obviously, it kept the drive going, but the biggest factor is now with this running offense, they're going to take a couple more minutes off the clock. I mean, that's really the big thing is you want to take time off and don't give the Lions a chance.
12th play of the drive for McKinney Boyd. Alves wants to throw under pressure again. Steps up in the pocket. He's got the 20. Makes a man fall down. 15, 10, 5. Down at the 3-yard line. 15 yards for Darren Alves. He won't quit. A man in his face. He makes him miss. Prescott Mack will get credit for the tackle at the 3-yard line. Human highlight film.
He just does it time and time. He's got one of the best visions in terms of looking at where defenders are and knowing what he can do when he gets to them. Even some of the best tacklers in the world would struggle against this guy.
5.5 minutes on this drive. 13th play of the drive. Power I formation at the goal line. Alves going to hand off Mon Pittman, the biggest hole you've ever seen, and it's touchdown time in Texas. Third touchdown of the night for Montarius Pittman. And with 6:11 left to go in this football game, McKinney Boyd just goes on top, 41-21, awaiting the PAT.
That's it, Monty. I don't see any other way that you're going to stop the Broncos anymore, and then you're going to be able to score the 3 touchdowns necessary just to even tie the thing up. This Boyd Bronco offense is putting on a clinic here tonight.
Richardson on for the PAT, leg getting tired, but he still puts it through. 42-21. Boyd in the lead. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
KLAK.
Getting ready to boot this JBS Express kickoff away, and Philip Richardson, a low line drive kick, going to bounce at the 27, roll down to the 15-yard line, picked up by Damian Willis, who's brought down immediately at the 21-yard line. A great job on that Boyd Bronco kickoff team, and Ryan Gross makes the stop. Let's go over the Mike's Economy Transmission scoring drive recap. It was 13 impressive plays, 79 yards for McKinney Boyd, 5 minutes and 58 off the clock, and a 3-yard touchdown by Montarius Pittman. His third touchdown of the night gives McKinney Boyd a 42-21 lead. Double the score, double the yardage. McKinney Boyd has 476 yards of offense. McKinney High 236. First and 10 for McKinney High. Back at their own 21. Lee wants to throw it down the field. Farley makes the catch at the 45. It's a foot race to the 40, 35, 30, 25. Drugged down by the shirt at the 20-yard line. 59 yards from Zach Lee to Jared Farley. And Weston Eubanks hauls him down from 120 to the other.
The play that just happened was again, just another seam down the middle. The line's doing a really solid job of finding the gaps in the zone coverage. And that time, Farley was able, when he got the ball, to stay in stride, and there was no other Bronco there.
Lee will throw it out this time to his near side receiver, and that's Will Rogers. Hits him in the chest, but a great play by Cody Sieber will pop the ball out, and it'll fall incomplete.
Yeah, that's one where you cringe as a coach. You wonder, did he get there just enough soon? You'll see some referees throw the flag on that play, some won't. But Lee needs to do a little bit better job of hiding where he's going. That was basically telegraphed the whole way, making it real easy for Sieber. 3
receivers to the right. Willis still in the backfield. Lee throws it across the middle. Farley wide open, and he strolls into the end zone. It's touchdown time in Texas. 20 yards from Zach Lee to Jared Farley.
Just like that.
Farley has been very impressive so far this year.
That was a 31-second drive, Monty. He can do that, you've got a chance.
Came into tonight 8 catches for 77 yards. He's got another big game tonight.
Getting awful close to my predicted score.
C.J. Gonzalez on for the extra point. His leg's probably getting tired too. And that one's good. 42-28. McKinney Boyd leading McKinney with 5:35 left to go here in the fourth quarter at Ron Poe Stadium. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium, and we're awaiting the JBS kickoff from C.J. Gonzalez. It's the Mike's Economy Transmission scoring drive recap. 3 plays, very quick, 79 yards, 36 seconds from McKinney High. Jared Farley from Zach Lee on every play. Here's an onside kick. And I don't believe it's going to go the distance, but McKinney says it did. They jump on it. No official ruling yet from the officials. I don't know that it went that far.
Well, it didn't. That was the problem. It only went 8 yards and kind of died. They had to wait for it, and anytime you have to wait for it, your chances of getting that onside diminish greatly. I like the call, Monty. Your defense hasn't been able to do much. If you can try to surprise them. And they didn't have their hands team in the game, so they did surprise them. It's just if you can get the ball, just 2 yards further down the field, it's a different story. And I honestly believe the Lions would have hopped onto that.
Ryan Hughes checks out of the game for McKinney, which is huge. The leading tackler for McKinney is on the sidelines. Lots of new faces into the game.
Yeah, real quick point of clarification. Hughes actually did recover that, Monty, but the problem was it was touched inside the 10-yard marker. And that it'll always, anytime you touch it before that 10 yards, you're going to see it's exactly what we see, and that's Boyd with the ball. And right now the officials are trying to explain that to Bobby Reyes down on the sideline.
Well, right now it's 1st and 10 for McKinney Boyd at the 49-yard line in McKinney territory. 5:34 left to go. And McKinney Boyd leading Big Brother 42-28. Shotgun formation for Darren Alves, and he'll send Mon Pittman in motion. He'll stand right behind him. And now one receiver split out wide right. Mon Pittman, big hole up the middle. Burst through and taken down. A nice tackle by Tarver, or it would have been to the house. 42-yard line is where Pittman goes down. A 6-yard run, but if it weren't for Tarver, that one would have been a lot more.
Yeah, you wonder if that tackle might have been a little bit of some frustration too, because, that defense really just needs to make a play, and Tarver doesn't want to be making a tackle 6 yards down the field.
88 yards on the ground for Pittman. He'll come in motion again, and he'll stand behind Alves again and a little bit to the right, and he'll get the handoff again. This time not a wide open lane as he's taken down at the line of scrimmage or even lost 2 yards. So back to 86 yards for Mon Pittman, and it'll be Josh Jackson on the stop for McKinney.
Monty, going back to one of those trends you pointed out at the end of the halftime show, Boyd hasn't scored as much in this part of the half, and on the other end of the thing, McKinney hasn't given up as much. So, 2 trends sticking through, and this time we can say for sure Boyd has their starters in here, so maybe Lions are just a better second-half team on defense.
3rd down and 6. Alves drops back 2 steps, throws it down the left side. Deep ball down the side and incomplete. Chase Ennis was tripped up. They got their feet tangled up together, and that was Jamal Fee along with Ennis.
Bonnie, it's funny. You look on the sidelines, all the white shirts are just kind of standing there. The coaches are standing there, but some of the students out on the sideline were yelling, "Where's the flag? Where's the flag?"
That actually wasn't Ennis. I apologize. That was Jonathan Griffin who was split out wide left.
Looks like we might see a punt this time as several people came in onto the field, and that would be a big break for the Lions.
Second punt of the night for Darren Alves, who had a 39-yarder earlier. And this will be 4th and 6. Good snap, left-footed punter, a wobbly kick. It's going to land out of bounds at about the 10-yard line or so.
Beautiful kick, Monty.
So McKinney pinned deep in their own territory at about their own 10-yard line. They haven't marked the ball yet. Now they're going to mark it right at the 12-yard line. So a 33-yard punt for Darren Alves, which is very efficient. And his hang time was 3.44, which was a little bit longer than the last punt. But he had the great bounce on the last punt.
Well, and that's the thing. You don't need a lot of hang time if you're angling for that corner, and that's exactly what Alves was doing. If you can get inside the 15, you're happy with that. He got it down to the 12. So you're looking at 88 yards to get within one touchdown. And, you got to like the way Boyd's played this game. They've really been efficient, made few to no mistakes, really put the pressure to the Lions.
4 minutes and 11 seconds left to go in this game. 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far. Lee wants to throw, throws it over the middle for Farley again. Same play, 25-yard line, a late hit, flag down at the 25. A first down for McKinney. Farley gets up clapping, looking at McKinney Boyd.
Boy, you better be careful, Farley. They'll throw a double flag. Yeah, Lee's reining him back in.
Zach Adamczyk hauls in. I believe it's Josh Russell who was talking to Farley a little bit. Adamczyk grabs him and tells him to get back in the huddle. Oh, they're going to wave it off. They're going to wave off the flag.
Boy, that incites this half of the field.
They're going to wave it off.
To
Still
their
a
credit,
first down.
Yeah, it would have been close one way or the other, so I like the fact they're letting them play. Now you just got to be careful. It may start to get a little chippy.
3 receivers to the right side. Brett Helt in the backfield along with Lee. 1 man to the near side. Actually, Brandon White is split out to the near side, not Will Rogers. Dario Jackson
They're
wide to
still
the right.
talking. That's what I don't understand, Monty. If you're going to wave it off, wave it off. What's to talk about?
Well, they're still.
Well, this is why I wish we could mic the officials sometime.
Well, the officials for tonight, we gave them earlier. Let's give them again. Tim Tolson, the referee. Eric Griffin, the umpire. The head linesman, Pat Clayton. The line judge, Jeff Graves. And the back judge, Justin Jordan. And now it's 1st and 10. McKinney from their own 26. 4:03 left to go. Lee wanting to throw down the right side. Over the middle, Farley. And it's incomplete. Almost intercepted by Weston Eubanks. Farley took a big hit from Cameron Mazer as the ball got there. And the ball floated once again, was up for grabs. Eubanks dove for it, couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, they needed to reverse that. Have Eubanks make the hit and have Cameron Mazer reach for it. Mazer's a little bit longer, and he's proven he can make that. But you know, Monty, I think Boyd's starting to finally catch on the fact that they're thrown down the middle in that seam. So this is the time you might want to come to the outside.
Who's the favorite man without his favorite receiver, Matt Lipka, out?
You bet, but he's finding, Farley and several others.
Thrown at Farley 10 times tonight. Lee rolls out right, throws at Farley again. Up this time it's Weathers, and he makes the catch for a first down. Weathers trying to get away, can't do it at his own 40-yard line.
What you see, they were trying to strip the ball from Weathers, and he just kept hanging on to that one. You notice how the Lions are quickly getting to that line of scrimmage. They want to get this play snapped as soon as the chains are set. And they do.
Lee wanting to throw over the middle, looking for Weathers again. It makes the catch to the 50, and it has his feet taken out at the 46-yard line, a 14-yard pass and catch. And now, since Lee and McKinney are on the move, they're starting to make some headway in the passing game. Cameron Mazer makes the stop.
Yeah, Weston Eubanks went for the interception. Weathers just basically plucked it out from right in front of him, was able to get more yards out of it.
Lee down the field to the right side has Jackson. It's caught, and he spins out of one tackle and doesn't get out of bounds. The clock will still roll. 2 yards shy of the first down. 3:21 and rolling here in the fourth. 42-28. Boyd on top of McKinney.
Boy, this has quickly turned into a thriller.
Over 200 yards passing now for Zach Lee all of a sudden. 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far. Lee, handoff, Brett Helt left side. Big hole up the middle. Cuts it back right. Spins down to the 25-yard line. First down and a flag down. Face mask. 12 yards on the carry for Brett Helt. Clock stops at 3:01. They'll sort out the flag, and it'll be a face mask, what Kevin McPherson tells us.
Well, I hope your belt's on tight because this action's starting to come by fast and furious. You got to like the way the Lions are running this 2-minute offense.
They waved off the flag again. Wow.
Well, why? I don't understand. Again, I like the fact that you're letting them play.
Wow.
Coaches for McKinney are starting to get a little hot on that one.
3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far. Lee wanting to throw left side, has Farley wide open across the middle, and he makes the catch, his 7th catch of the night, down at the 12-yard line. It's Weston Eubanks who makes the stop after a 13-yard play, and it'll be first and down for McKinney at the McKinney Boyd 12-yard line.
If my defense was any better, I might consider running a fast-paced offense all the time.
2:41 left to go in the game. Lee looking right side. Can't find anyone. On the run, throws it up and out of the end zone. Nice, smart play by Zach Lee. Couldn't find his receiver, Jackson, over there, who was covered up. So he threw it over his head and out of the end zone.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've been looking for all night, Monty. You don't want to end a drive because you're trying to make a play out of something. It's great when you do, but when you don't, you'd rather have another down.
5 yards, or 5 plays of more than 10 yards on this drive.
Well, that's exactly what the Lions needed.
3 receivers near side. Dario Jackson split out wide right. Handoff, big hole to Brett Helt to the left side inside the 10. And a nice play inside the 10-yard line to the 9. The linebacker, Daniel Edgar, made a nice stop there, or Helt could have been in the end zone. 2:19, 2:18 and rolling here in the fourth quarter. McKinney needing to get in that end zone. 3rd down and 6. Can get a first down at about the 3-yard line. Lee throwing in the end zone over the middle. Weathers makes the catch. It's touchdown time in Texas. Wide open Weathers right over the seam. 9-yard touchdown. 2:07 left to go. 42-34 awaiting the PAT.
Do we have any of those heart paddles? Because I might be having a heart attack soon because the action here is just getting fast and furious. Good Lord, what a good-looking drive. And you can expect the same from Boyd here as they're going to try to run it out.
The BAT by Gonzalez is true. Wow, 42-35. 2:07 left to go. McKinney Boyd on top, getting the ball back. We'll be back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Well, it was 1 year ago, McKinney versus McKinney Boyd, that everyone said McKinney quit. Brett Helt said today that would not happen tonight, and it has not. McKinney clawing their way back into this football game, 42-35. 2:07 left to go. C.J. Gonzalez, an onside kick and a beauty, and I believe it's going to go out of bounds. It was a great kick and a flag down, and that's because the ball went out of bounds. Will Rogers was over there, big, tall, 6'5" wide receiver, trying to haul it in, but it went right over his head, through his arms, and out of bounds on that far side. Boyd will take over with 2:07 left to go in the game.
If the Lions could have gotten that kick on the first try, it may be a different story. But Monty, I want to put a small little spotlight on one of the members of our crew. What kind of addition has Kevin McPherson been for us?
Oh, huge.
You know what I mean?
Huge.
He's blushing over there, but I tell you, he's been a big part of this. But Monty, right now, this defense needs a turnover, and if you're the Boyd Broncos, you just need to run out the clock. Right now, that's as simple as that. Run out the clock, you score. Well, listen to this crowd. Both sides are into it. Man, this is what a rivalry game is. It's not. I don't know that it's there yet, but games like this will get it there fast.
Alv, shotgun. He's going to run right guard, and a nice play. Well, he's still dragging defenders. He should have been down after about a 2-yard gain, but he went down after a 5-yard gain because he drugged Jordan Kilwine on his back.
It's like they didn't tell him he's 5'7", 160.
These 77 points, there's a timeout on the field. We'll keep it right here. These 77 points that are on the board tonight, that ties the 5th most ever in a McKinney Boyd game, as the 49-28 game versus McKinney North last year had 77 points. If you're wondering what's the most points ever in a McKinney Boyd game, that's 84, and that was Richardson Pierce in last year's playoff game. 49-35.
So we're conceivably looking at if one team scores a touchdown, that's it. Oh, Amani. By the way, you've never done an overtime game yet. Just throwing that out there.
No, in 15 years, I've never done an overtime game. And Kevin McPherson just tells us that Darren Alves is 2 yards away from 300 yards rushing tonight.
I did that in one season before. No,
27 carries for 298 yards.
What's his East Texas math for that average?
2nd down and 5. Mazer comes in the backfield. And Alves wants to run to the left side. Gets a block. He's got a first down and more inside the 35 to the 31-yard line. And this puppy's under 2 minutes now. Jamel Fee on the stop. 16 yards on the carry. 314 yards now for Darren Alves.
Mono, we know Alves has the ability to break tackles and make you miss on tackles, but it's a lot easier if you don't have to worry about making any sort of move, and Cameron Mazer does that by his blocks. That lead block right there just sealed that hole. Darren Alves was able to run to the left side untouched for 5 yards because Mazer just is an outstanding lead blocker.
46 first downs in this game, 24 for Boyd, 22 for McKinney High. First down and 10 here for McKinney Boyd, and this is going to be a handoff. Montarius Pittman, left guard, lots of room. Another first down or close to it to the 20-yard line, maybe just shy, but barely. Jamario Mack on the stop for McKinney. We're at 1:22 on the clock, and they're moving the sticks. 42-35, McKinney Boyd in the lead. McKinney desperately needing some kind of a turnover. If they get the ball back, odds are they'll score the way they've been moving the ball.
Yeah, you just wonder if they can do it with enough time on the clock, because you're right, Monty, these defense. And the funny thing is, it doesn't look like Boyd's really playing that bad defense.
2 receivers to either side. Mazer comes in motion, stands behind Alves, or right to his left, actually. In the gun is Alves. Runs left guard. Big hole, 15, and down to the 10, inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Another first down, 12-yard gain for Darren Alves. That's 326 yards for Darren Alves. There's that How math for you.
It looks like it's better than East Texas math. You beat out the statistician on that one. But, Monty, you almost wonder if you want to let him score here, because each time you tackle him after a first down, you're basically letting them run out the clock. You've only got 2 timeouts left. So theoretically, you can really start to do some damage here. You won't even have to score.
Clock rolling, 40 seconds. Mon Pittman comes in motion.
If you take a knee, that's it.
7 on the play clock. And Alves is going to hand off to Pittman. Up the middle to the 5. Look out. Fighting, churning down at the 3-yard line. Call it the 2. And we're 24 seconds and 2 yards away from some history being made.
I don't understand why we're not seeing a timeout from the Lions. Because right now the ball hasn't reset and you're just letting time tick off the clock. Yeah, I mean, if you're Boyd, you don't snap it.
Yeah, that's the ball game.
You've got 2 timeouts left.
3, 2, 1, 0. You hear the crowd from McKinney High standing and clapping even in defeat. It was a great game.
Oh, you bet.
It was not a great game at the half, as Boyd was running away with it. You could see him running away with it, but stand up for McKinney. They quit last year. They did not quit tonight.
Yeah, this has got to be one of the best performances I've seen from all sides of the ball this half from the Lions in about 3 years. We saw some spurts from them, but we didn't see them put together anything consistent. If you look at the scoreboard, unfortunately, this is one of those moral victories, but in the second half, they scored more points. And they haven't been able to do that yet this year. So, there's some positives to be taken away from this. And you know what? Boyd would have been the top of the heap in this district. Were they still in it? So this gives you hope coming into district play next week.
Well, hats off to Don Drake, who moves to 12 and 14 overall, 12 and 15 overall as the head coach here at McKinney Boyd. So Boyd gets back on track after a dismal week last week of only scoring 14 points. They now have the most this year with 42 scored tonight. Players are shaking hands across the field. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back with the postgame show in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.